It had not even been 3 minutes since I was diagnosed with a terminal illness. My 3 fabulously wealthy sisters did not offer to treat me. Instead, they voted to throw me out of the family. But when they saw me reunite with my biological little sister, they all regretted it. They wept and begged me to return to them. But it was already too late. As I listened to the doctor's final verdict, "In your condition, I am afraid you will not last a year," all that remained in my mind was a relentless buzzing. I left the hospital with legs as heavy as lead. A vibration in my pocket made me instinctively pull out my phone. When I saw eldest sister's name on the screen, my heart suddenly stirred. I never expected her to remember I had come for a checkup. She often lashed out at me for no reason. But her concern at that moment was enough for me. "Sis," the doctor said. But before I could even finish, Mu Yulu impatiently cut me off. "Whether you see a doctor is no longer important. I called to tell you something. Your biological mother has been found. So, do not call us your sisters again. And never come back to the Mu family. You were never our real little brother." Mu Yulu made no effort to hide her feelings. Her voice was cold, thick with obvious disgust. It answered the question that had troubled me for years. Eldest sister was Jiangsheng's richest person and an iron-fisted chief executive. Second sister was a chart-topping superstar and queen of the music world. No matter how carefully I tried to please them, they never accepted me. It turned out I was only adopted. Now that they had found their real little brother, they could not bear to keep pretending for even another second. So they immediately made this call, eager to kick me aside. Mu Yulu had thought that once she laid everything bare, the crushing sense of disparity would make me break down. Perhaps I would even scream hysterically. Then, in an even colder voice, she could force me to face reality and make me understand that we belonged to different worlds. But I merely said, calmly, that I accepted it all. That left her momentarily stunned on the other end. But only for a moment. After all, this saved her the cost of a settlement. Mu Yulu immediately put it out of her mind. She had to prepare for her real little brother's arrival. As for what the replacement, was thinking, no one cared at all. After that heartless call ended, Butler Liu knocked and entered. He handed her the outfit for a dinner party a few days away. Every garment was crafted by a master tailor. The matching jewelry alone cost 7 figures. That erased the last trace of guilt in Mu Yulu's heart. In an instant, she had let someone who could never have reached high society enjoy years of extravagant living. The Mu family had done Mu Chen no wrong. "Butler, I want a bowl of noodles. Make them the usual way." Butler Liu hesitated at once, but he quickly nodded in agreement. Just 15 minutes later, Butler Liu served the noodles. Mu Yulu frowned after a single bite. "Liu, did you inspect the kitchen ingredients today?" Butler Liu heard the displeasure in Mu Yulu's voice. He had assumed it was only a bowl of noodles. He thought any chef could make it, but the facts proved him wrong. Mu Yulu was clearly dissatisfied with the noodles. After thinking for a moment, Butler Liu replied, "The ingredients are fine. I checked them all. Perhaps it tastes different because Mu Chen used to make every bowl himself. That is why the flavor tastes different now. I will have the chef adjust the seasoning right away." Mu Yulu immediately stopped him. "What do you mean by that? I have eaten noodles every morning for over a year. Are you saying Mu Chen made every single bowl?" Butler Liu nodded in confirmation. Mu Yulu froze on the spot. Then a hint of reproach entered her voice. Whatever else he was, Mu Chen used to be the family's young master. How could you let him do such menial work? Butler Liu hurriedly explained. "For quite some time before, you had stomach trouble and could not eat anything, remember? When Mu Chen found out, he worked on it for several days. Only then did he create these noodles for me to serve you." Mu Yulu waved her hand. This was truly the first she had heard of it. Still, she was only slightly moved. Before long, she even felt it was only natural. After all, compared with everything the Mu family had given me, making a bowl of noodles was hardly worth mentioning. By then, I had returned to my biological mother's home. On the way there, I saw the utility poles and trees outside her home, covered with missing person posters from me. "This is your room." My mother, Su Weilin, spoke with a slight tremble in her voice. The room was small, but spotlessly clean. A white tablecloth pattern with blue flowers covered the table. It was the sunniest room in the house. They had kept it especially for me. My eyes immediately filled with tears. Mom had never given up searching for me. This family had always kept a place for me. For the first time in so long, I felt I had a home again. At noon, my mother, my elementary school-aged sister, and I sat down to a long-awaited home-cooked meal. Mom stared at me for a very long time. She remembered those first days after I went missing. Her world seemed to lose all sense of day and night. She had barely stopped for even a moment, posting tens of thousands of missing person flyers throughout every corner of the city. Yet not a single call ever came. Sometimes, when she passed shops along the street, she thought she saw my face reflected in their windows. It is wonderful. I finally found you. At that moment, my little sister, Xiaonuan, saw the rare smile on our mother's face and froze for a moment. Then she smiled happily too. After lunch, Xiaonuan thoughtfully cleared the dishes and went to the kitchen. She rolled up her sleeves and washed them like a pro. Seeing that, I hurried over to help her wash up. Thank you, brother. The word brother, which she had been too shy to say at lunch, finally left Xiaonuan's lips. Hearing her call me brother filled me with warmth and peace. Back in that grand Mu family mansion, even when I sat on the same sofa as my sisters, we seemed to belong to two completely different worlds. At that moment, I made a silent vow. At least, for whatever little time I had left, I would never let my mother and sisters suffer again. Before bed that night, I received a voice message from Mom. Are you getting used to the food here? Tomorrow, I will buy some ribs and cook them for you too. Smiling, I sent back a voice message. Sure, Mom. Hearing him call her Mom, Suweilan fell into a daze, tears streaming down her face. She had once felt ashamed deep down, afraid I would look down on their poor home. But now, she was no longer afraid. Better days lay ahead. Early the next morning, Mu Yulu rose right on schedule. The moment the lady of the house woke up, every household worker on the estate sprang into action. There were rules for when each person was to appear in each area. So, just 5 minutes later, her makeup artist arrived in her room on time. Throughout the makeup session, she thought of her real little brother, Mu Chen, who would soon return from abroad. Before he returned, she had to throw out all of my belongings, so her real brother would not be disgusted by them. But then a question surfaced in her mind. Where exactly was Mu Chen's room? 10 minutes later, Mu Yulu followed the butler outside the main house. The clear lake reflected the beautiful scenery around it. Soft lawns stretched into the distance. Beneath the shelter of towering poplar trees, it formed a natural haven of birdsong and fragrant flowers. This was the work of 3 gardeners earning 7-figure annual salaries, who maintained it tirelessly every day. Mu Yulu thought to herself, if I were not so lucky, I could work for 100 years and still never live somewhere like this. But as they continued walking, Mu Yulu suddenly realized something was wrong. Liu, did I not tell you to take me to Mu Chen's room? Butler Liu nodded. His white-gloved right hand pointed ahead. This is where young Master Mu Chen used to live. Mu Yulu was instantly taken aback. Is that not the building where the servants live? Then she suddenly remembered. She had arranged it herself years ago. Back then, she believed I was not truly family. If I had enjoyed such luxury from childhood, I might have grown into a spoiled wastrel. The Mu family might have been rich enough not to care about money. But in the eyes of outsiders, I, Mu Chen, was still considered part of the Mu family. She did not want my behavior to bring shame upon the Mu family. That was why she decided to raise me in deliberate hardship. But after all these years, had he never once asked to change rooms? Mu Yulu found it hard to believe. She had never truly regarded me as her younger brother. Otherwise, she would not have forgotten which room I lived in. But whatever the case, I was still her brother in name. If I had asked for it back then, how could she possibly have refused to move me? Butler Liu looked as though he wanted to speak, yet held back. Even as an outsider, he had seen it clearly all these years. The deep-rooted disdain Mu Yulu felt from me. So many times, I had eagerly gone to Mu Yulu to share funny school stories and my excellent grades. Before I could even speak, she would coldly cut me off. Even when he reported matters concerning me to Mu Yulu, he would sometimes be caught in the crossfire and ordered to shut up. She would snap, do not bother me with his affairs again. I do not want to hear about them. Butler Liu understood perfectly well. Perhaps because I had grown up in such an environment, and because I had always been a sensible child, I would rather suffer in silence than upset my eldest sister over something like this. Something in Butler Liu's expression seemed to make Mu Yulu realize the truth. But someone as proud as her would never admit it. None of it mattered now. He had already been driven away. Besides, the servants' quarters might not have been as spacious or luxurious as the main house, but they were still far better than an ordinary middle-class home. Then, Mu Yulu followed Butler Liu into the building. He led her all the way to the room where I had once lived. As she went down the stairs, she was utterly stunned. She had never imagined, not in her wildest dreams, that the family's nominal young master, had lived in the basement. She was about to sharply blame Butler Liu, when memories from the past came flooding back. Back then, the butler had assigned me a guest room in the main house. She was the one who had firmly rejected that suggestion, ordering me to get out and live in the north building. But the north building was entirely for the servants, and there were no spare proper rooms. So naturally, I could only be crammed in here. The room was not small, and it was reasonably furnished. But the moment Mu Yulu stepped inside, she was hit by a cold, damp chill. For the first time in her life, she felt a flicker of guilt. The brother she had lived with for years, in name only, had lived in conditions worse than an ordinary servant's. As she casually sorted through the room, Mu Yulu found many things in a drawer. There was a broken remote control car and worn-out building blocks, as well as a watch whose hands had stopped long ago. At first, she sneered that I was an outsider, and outsiders would always be outsiders. I could not even bear to throw away such worthless junk. But when she looked at the watch again, she froze. If she remembered correctly, it was one she had casually tossed to me years ago. She never expected that after all these years, even this broken watch had long since stopped ticking. Yet I had still treasured and kept it. That made Mu Yulu guess that the other items in the drawer were probably things her sisters had casually given me as well. She had never imagined that things she had tossed my way so casually could carry such weight in my heart. Mu Yulu had originally planned to throw them away as garbage, but perhaps a trace of guilt rose within her, making her decide to deliver this junk to me instead. She would treat it as a final farewell and part on good terms. After putting those old items into a storage box, she spotted a stack of forms at the back of the drawer. She took them out and found they were scholarship applications. Her brow furrowed as she was once again baffled. Liu, did I not tell you to give him a monthly allowance? Why was he so broke that he had to apply for a scholarship? Mu Yulu had no other reason for saying that. She simply felt that, living under the Mu family's roof, I should not have needed to apply at school for that small scholarship. If word got out, it would make it seem as though the Mu family had abused me. But as soon as Mu Yulu said it, she remembered her decision to raise me modestly. The allowance she gave me was nowhere near the standard for a wealthy family. It was only 2,000 yuan a month, like an ordinary family would give. Still, even if it was only 2,000, surely he should not have been poor enough to apply for scholarships. Butler Liu quickly lowered his head and explained, I transferred his 2,000 yuan monthly allowance on time every month. Young Master Mu Chen once secretly borrowed money from me. He said he urgently needed it to buy you a birthday gift. I felt sorry for him, so I told him he did not need to repay it. But before long, he still scraped together the money and paid me back. Perhaps that was why. Mu Yulu suddenly realized. For all those years, every time it was her birthday, I would always carefully prepare a gift for her. But because those gifts looked like cheap street market finds, she would usually throw them straight into the trash the next day. But in her lofty position, she forgot that I had never truly been a young master of the Mu family. To me, those worthless and expensive things were already the best gifts I could afford. By chance, I ran into Mu Yulu that morning. The moment she saw me, she paused in surprise. Wait, don't go yet. I have something for you. But as if I had not heard her, I did not slow down at all. Mu Yulu was left momentarily stunned. In her ingrained, superior view of me, I had always obeyed her every word. Why had I suddenly become so cold? Mu Yulu frowned but did not dwell on it. She took an old storage box from her assistant. Mu Chen, these are things from your old room. Some less important things are in my car. I will have someone drop them off at your home while they are passing by later. At that, I finally stopped walking away. I took the storage box and casually opened it for a glance. Thank you, President Mu. Before Mu Yulu could recover from that form of address, she saw something that left her dumbfounded. I threw the entire storage box into a trash can. By the time she finally recovered from her shock, the brother she once had, was already far away. Assistant Shen, standing beside her, said indignantly, Sister Yulu, you came all this way to bring him his things yourself. You should have thrown all that junk in the trash. The Mu family raised him all those years and let him attend one of the best universities in the country. You have done nothing wrong by him. Yet he has not a shred of gratitude. He even dares to give you such an awful attitude. He is nothing but an ungrateful wretch. Mu Yulu could not take in a single word. When she heard me call her President Mu, she felt as if she had lost something forever. But that faint, indescribable sense of loss was quickly replaced by uncontrollable anger. The only reason she had lowered herself to bring me those things was because she thought I still saw her as my sister. That was why I had treasured the things she casually gave me. But after witnessing the scene with her own eyes, Mu Yulu believed she had seen my true colors. It convinced her that she and her younger sisters had been completely right to drive me away. But Mu Yulu conveniently forgot that more than once in the past, when I called her sister in public, she had pretended not to know me out of disgust. More than once, she had also arrogantly scolded me, ordering me to call her President Mu in certain settings. She warned me that being called sister in public was humiliating. Now that I had truly done as she wanted, she was deeply unhappy about it instead. Seeing Mu Yulu's face filled with rage, Assistant Shen continued to fan the flames. Since he has no shame at all, when that ungrateful wretch comes begging us later, we should send him away coldly. Most people would kill for a chance to attach themselves to the Mu family, but they do not get one. One day, he will regret this bitterly. After hearing all that persuasion, Mu Yulu felt some of the anger in her heart subside. You are right. He will definitely regret this someday. Afterward, Mu Yulu searched through the bag her assistant was holding. She remembered it contained some of my old belongings. She wanted to find them and throw them all in the trash. Before long, she pulled out a stack of old documents, worried that her own files might be mixed in. Mu Yulu casually flipped through them. Among those old papers were my university scholarship applications, along with my report cards from childhood onward. When Mu Yulu saw those report cards, her eyes narrowed slightly. She truly had not expected that I had been such an excellent student all my life. I had ranked near the top almost every time. I had even scored 680 on the college entrance exam. That came as a mild surprise to Mu Yulu. She had never paid attention to my grades before. In fact, until then, she thought I had gotten into a top university, only because the Mu family donated heavily every year. But now it seemed I had earned my place there through my own ability. Mu Yulu suddenly felt it was a pity. Compared with the top score in the province, my score was probably not far behind. Setting everything else aside, from the standpoint of investing in talent alone, I was actually a talent worth investing in. But what was done was done. There was no point dwelling on it. As long as she had plenty of money, students as accomplished as me were a dime a dozen. Mu Yulu continued searching through the papers. She found several more medical examination reports. She found it rather amusing. Was I really that afraid of dying? Why would someone so young get so many checkups? Besides, during yesterday's call, she had heard me mention it. Curious, she opened the reports, wanting to see what I had been tested for. It was a medical report from when I was 16. When she read its contents, Mu Yulu froze. The attending physician had clearly written. The patient reported that for the past 2 weeks, he had suffered frequent heart palpitations, fevers, and dry heaving. Initial assessment, liver damage caused by malnutrition. Final diagnosis, hepatitis. Mu Yulu was completely dumbfounded. How could that be possible? Every meal at the Mu family estate was planned by professional nutritionists. How could he possibly be malnourished? Then she suddenly realized something. She had never allowed me to eat at the same table as them. Long ago, there had been one occasion. All of my sisters had returned to the estate. I had specially prepared ingredients with the butler, then spent hours in the kitchen making a whole table of dishes. That time, she had planned to make an exception and let me join them. But 2 important guests arrived unexpectedly. So, she told me to give up my place for them, and told me to get lost and eat with the servants. Thinking back on it now, she vaguely sensed something had been wrong. Perhaps it was because I had always been so obedient and meek, showing no hint of dissatisfaction then. I had only swallowed my hurt in silence. So, she had never thought anything was wrong. That made her suddenly understand. After living together all those years, she had developed some affection for me. But her deep-rooted prejudice had always made her treat me as an outsider. But even during my high school years, when I ate with the servants every day, even so, I should not have become malnourished. Filled with confusion, she called Butler Liu. It was not out of concern or guilt. She merely wanted to question the servants, to see whether they had properly followed her orders back then. The call was answered quickly. She coldly demanded an explanation. Butler Liu fell silent for a moment. Then he answered cautiously. Perhaps during that period, Mu Chen often did not have time to eat. You told us not to indulge him, lest he develop bad habits and disgrace the Mu family. You ordered us to keep his schedule the same as the servants, but the servants' meal times ended at fixed hours, so he often had nothing to eat. He simply went hungry. The more Mu Yulu listened, the more confused she became. What could any of this possibly have to do with it? Had he really thrown a tantrum and gone on a hunger strike? Had he deliberately refused to eat when it was time? Was that why he ended up with nothing to eat? Mu Yulu gave a cold snort. If he had really mistreated himself like that, then he had only himself to blame. No life of privilege, yet all the spoiled demands of a young master. Butler Liu gave a bitter smile and explained, "Do you remember the time when Mu Chen begged you to assign him a driver?" Mu Yulu lowered her head and thought for a moment. Then she vaguely recalled that it had happened. Mu Chen himself had made the request. Mu Yulu had considered the request unreasonable. Without a second thought, she had sternly refused. After all, she had long decided to raise me as though I were poor. Why would she assign me a personal driver? She had even wondered whether I was getting above myself, wanting to use the estate's driver to show off. Yes, that had happened. But what did it have to do with food? Had I gotten upset over it and deliberately gone on a hunger strike in protest? Butler Liu hurriedly shook his head. Mu Chen had not uttered a single complaint. The next day, he used his allowance to buy a bicycle. He rode that beat-up bike to and from school every day. Mu Yulu thought that sounded just fine. Young people ought to get more exercise. But what the butler said next completely shattered her self-righteousness. Butler Liu sighed and continued. The high school was far from the estate, even by bike. It took over an hour to get to school on time every day. Mu Chen had to get up at 5:30 every morning, but the servants' breakfast hours were always from 7 to 9 without exception. That meant every day when he left, the kitchen had not even started cooking. As for dinner, he often missed it because of his heavy schoolwork. Butler Liu let out a long sigh. Back then, he had seen it all and worried deeply. He had repeatedly raised concerns about Mu Chen's meals, but Mu Yulu impatiently cut him off every time, shouting that everyone must be treated equally, with no exceptions. Mu Yulu was struck as if by lightning. At last, she realized just how horribly wrong she had been. She had always traveled in luxury cars, and had long forgotten the hardships of ordinary people. She had always believed children from ordinary families did not deserve personal drivers. Naturally, she saw my request as unreasonable. Yet she had completely overlooked how remote the estate was, and how far it was from the high school. My request had actually been perfectly reasonable. Even if she would not assign me a driver, she could have simply arranged for a cook to make breakfast early. Like any ordinary family caring for a child, they could have worked around my schedule. But she had blocked both options. Even Mu Yulu had to admit it now. She was entirely to blame for starving me into illness. After hanging up, Assistant Shen, who had been ranting moments ago, now felt thoroughly humiliated. But I was ultimately just a stand-in, not Mu Yulu's real younger brother. Though Mu Yulu knew she was in the wrong, she was too used to looking down on others. She would never lower herself to apologize to me. She would just send someone to deliver the things. Meanwhile, at the Mu family estate, a sweet, innocent girl sat alone by her bed. Her skin was fair as snow, her features exquisitely delicate. Wherever she went, she was the center of attention. Her name was Mu Leyao. She was the reigning pop diva, famous across the country. Her latest song, released not long ago, had dominated every major music platform. Yet Mu Leyao unexpectedly suffered from insomnia last night. She feared that feeling returning. She was afraid of becoming useless again, unable to sleep all night. So, she desperately tried to remember how her insomnia had been cured in the first place. Out of habit, she reached for her phone, planning to call me over to massage her. Her fingers paused and she suddenly realized I was no longer in this home. She and her sisters had driven me away themselves. But that brief sadness quickly passed. After all, I was only an irrelevant outsider. Her real younger brother would soon be coming home. How could they keep a stand-in in the house? She immediately had the butler find a massage therapist. Yet nothing could restore the comfort she once felt. When I dragged myself home, exhausted, I found the living room completely dark. The table was clearly covered in steaming dishes. So, why was there not a soul in sight? Just then, a sparkler began to crackle. Flames suddenly flared. "Happy birthday, brother." Su Whelan walked out from the inner room with a smile, and carefully set a birthday cake on the table. Xiaonuan excitedly ran to one side, pulling away a tablecloth to reveal an electronic keyboard. She said she would play me a song she had just learned. I was delighted, but also full of questions. When I came home yesterday, there had clearly been no keyboard in the living room. This was not something an ordinary family could afford. But I soon noticed something. A label on it read, "Wang Xiaomei, Class 2. My nose immediately stung. For my birthday, my little sister had gone and borrowed a keyboard. Through all those long years with the Mu family, no one had ever cared about my birthday. Watching my sister play with such concentration, I stood nearby, applauding with tears in my eyes. I softly hummed along with the melody. When she finished, I ruffled her hair and asked, "Do you really like playing the piano? Once I make some money, I'll buy you a piano." Xiaonuan's face lit up with unconcealed delight. The words, "Thank you, brother," were about to escape her lips, but she swallowed them back, trying to be sensible. She blinked her big eyes and said the opposite of what she felt. "I do not like it that much, really. How can I not see through my little sister?" I only smiled and chose not to call her out. I promised myself I would give her a wonderful surprise someday. So I went along with it and changed the subject. "Thank you, brother. I really love it. Your brother will play a song for you too." Xiaonuan's eyes widened in surprise. "Brother, you can play the piano too." Just as I sat down, ready to show off, there was a soft knock at the door. I opened it and froze. A young woman stood there in a white blouse and a knee-length skirt. Her jet-black ponytail accentuated her long, swan-like neck. A breeze brushed the loose strands beside her ears. When she saw me open the door, Qinghuan's lips curved into a sweet smile. "Looks like this young lady found the right place after all." She held out an exquisite gift box with both hands. "Mu Chen, happy birthday." Seeing me stand there stupidly without reacting, she tilted her head and asked playfully, "Why don't you invite your good friend in for a seat?" She had been my classmate in high school. She had heard what happened to me through our group chat, and deliberately came to see me today. Xiaonuan looked at this stunning woman, then glanced at me, standing there like a statue. A knowing look appeared on her little face. She grinned like a mischievous little sprite. She leaned close and tugged at my sleeve. Then she whispered under her breath, "Brother, is this pretty lady your girlfriend?" The house was tiny to begin with. How could Qinghuan possibly not hear that? A flicker of shyness and panic crossed her eyes. She quickly turned around and pretended to admire the view. She tried hard to look completely unfazed, but her blazing red ears gave her away. But my next answer was like a bucket of cold water. No, it was not as if I felt nothing for her. A girl like her, adored by everyone, was flawless in both looks and personality. But what right did a man dying soon have to speak of love? How could Xiaonuan understand the complications of adults? She dragged me straight toward the keyboard. I went along with her and sat before it. My long fingers danced over the keys. A beautiful melody poured forth like flowing water. Qinghuan was instantly captivated by the melody. She forgot all about her earlier disappointment. When the piece ended, its echoes still lingered. Xiaonuan clapped her little hands red with excitement. "Brother, that was incredible. That was Mu Leyao's new song, right? The girls in my class sing it every day." I only smiled and said nothing. After all, only I knew. It was a timeless masterpiece from the world of my previous life. Meanwhile, in the sprawling estate, Mu Leyao, still awake late at night, began playing the piano. Soft light filled the hall around her. As the graceful piano melody flowed, she shone like an elegant queen. As she became absorbed in the music, her playing grew ever more evocative. When she finished the beautiful piece, Butler Liu could not help applauding. Whenever she completed such a perfect performance, she could not help recalling the past. When she was only 7, she saw a piano master on a screen, his fingers flying passionately across the keys, playing a powerful composition. That was when she fell deeply in love with the instrument. Now, her fans revered her as a master. But when she had first started learning piano, her teacher had deemed her completely untalented. At first, she had a terrible feel for music theory. She lacked the musical sensitivity of children her age, and her fingers were not long enough to become a true piano master. Long, elegant hands were essential. That was what her teacher told her in their first lesson. Back then, she ranked at the bottom among her peers, until I came along and changed her. Even now, she could not forget seeing me play piano for the first time. That boy had the same limitations she did. My fingers were not particularly long either, yet I still played the piece flawlessly. And from that day onward, Mu Leyao began secretly competing with me. She thought that if a poor boy like me could do it, then she could certainly do even better. So she regained her confidence and practiced relentlessly. Gradually, she surpassed her peers, earning her teacher's recognition. She was even invited to a renowned opera house to perform a four-hand piano duet with her teacher. She still remembered how lucky she had been. After all, her piano teacher was one of the country's leading artists. The teacher had won every major national competition, and she was not the teacher's most prized student. Several students older than her were far more skilled than she was. Though she desperately wanted the opportunity, she knew there was only one spot. She probably would not be chosen. But who could have expected that at the last moment, the teacher would decide to draw lots? One student would be randomly chosen to perform alongside the teacher, as if fortune itself had favored her. Mu Leyao was the one selected. She still clearly remembered that in the Grand Theater. Her piano teacher, normally hot-tempered, had been remarkably patient throughout the performance. And during their four-hand duet, the teacher had carefully followed her tempo. The teacher supported her throughout, giving every spotlight moment to her, even though it was her first time on stage, performing before countless spectators. She quickly found her rhythm. She became utterly confident. No longer did she fear the eyes watching below. The moment the final note faded, her teacher gave her center stage. She bowed gracefully, neither servile nor arrogant. After the media captured that moment, they praised her lavishly in their reports. They said the stage had been made for her. After that performance, Mu Leyao never doubted herself again. Mu Chen, what do you think? Once she finished, she called my name out of habit. Only then did she suddenly realize that after all those years together, she had long grown accustomed to having me beside her, while she practiced alone. Whenever she grew tired from playing, watching me quietly play afterward always made her feel calm and at ease. Thinking of this, she felt a faint regret. She regretted that when they discussed whether I could stay, she had voted to send me away. But on second thought, all this had been for her biological brother. Besides, I had never truly belonged to the Mu family, so perhaps sending me away was only reasonable. Before long, she came up with a compromise. She had heard that my family was struggling financially, that we were living a rather meager life. She thought she could hire me as her piano practice partner. The thought made her secretly smug, but she decided to contact me in a few days. After all, they had only just thrown me out, and immediately paying me to come back would be rather awkward to ask. As she rose to return to her room for bed, she noticed a camera set up nearby. She had specifically asked for it to be placed there. First, it was for recording her daily practice. Second, it let her review her technique afterward and see where she could improve. She had also used its recordings to secretly study my playing technique, so she immediately thought there might be recent footage of me on it. It had indeed been far too long since she had watched me play, so she had Butler Liu pull down the projection screen. He projected footage of my most recent performance onto it. The moment that familiar melody began, Mu Leyao froze where she stood. Her face was filled with disbelief. She checked the recording's timestamp again and again. Then her mind went blank, as though struck by lightning. The piece I played in the recording was the new song she had released 2 weeks earlier. Yet the recording of that performance was dated earlier than when she wrote the song, by a full week. Back at home, I had just finished playing. My mother set the final dish on the table. But, as we ate together, Qinghuan keenly sensed something was wrong. It felt as if a barrier had risen between us. She could only keep comforting herself, thinking that with so many recent changes, I was surely still adjusting to everything. Perhaps in a day or two, I would return to my old self. The moment dinner ended, I did not hesitate, using the dishes as an excuse to hide in the kitchen. Qinghuan felt deeply hurt by that. Annie, I should get going. The more Qinghuan thought about it, the more wrong she felt. She had carefully prepared a birthday gift for me, yet I had treated her so coldly. I had not even bothered to say thank you. Still, as she reached for the front door, she hoped I would offer to walk her out. If I only said the word now, she would generously forget what had happened. After all their years together, she was certain I would do it. But reality hit her hard. Even as she shut the door in disappointment, I remained in the kitchen without making a move. What a heartless jerk. Qinghuan's voice trembled with tears as she fumed. She secretly swore to herself that she would never pick up breakfast for me again. At least, not for the next week. Brother, that lady seemed angry when she left. I knew I had gone too far. Just then, the doorbell suddenly rang. I hurriedly dried my hands and ran to open the door. At least I could thank her. But Qinghuan was not standing outside. Why are you standing there like an idiot, blocking the door? Hurry up and let eldest sister come in so she can speak. Mu Yulu spoke coldly as well. Why did you block me and our third sister? She has something urgent, and she cannot reach you. Hearing her call herself big sister struck me as absurd. Sorry, whose big sister did you say you are? And who exactly are you? Disgust flashed through Mu Yulu's eyes. Are you still sulking over being thrown out? I advise you not to bother with that. You were never a member of the Mu family. By now, you know the truth perfectly well. Do you still want to deceive yourself and pretend otherwise? Do you intend to shamelessly keep clinging to our family? Mu Yulu lectured me again, acting like my elder. In the past, her words might hurt me, but now, I could not care less. Just as I was about to shut the door on them, my mother heard the commotion and invited them inside. She did not know the bad blood between us. Mu Yulu clicked into the living room in her heels. She looked around with naked disdain. Accustomed to lavish mansions, she could hardly call this tiny space a living room. It was not even as spacious as her storage room. I will get straight to the point. I brought all the personal belongings from your room. Our third sister has some piano questions for you. From now on, spend days every weekend practicing with her. I will cover all your college tuition, and I will pay you a salary on top of that. Name your price. 30,000 or 50,000, either is fine. She was only offering such generous terms, not because she valued our former bond as siblings, but because she saw paying my tuition as an investment. As for that part-time pay of a few tens of thousands, she saw it as charity for my malnourished state. After hearing that outrageously arrogant speech, a brief hesitation crossed my face. It was not because the tuition or salary moved me. Someone had suddenly come to mind. Mu Leyao had always been so proud and unyielding. She might shine brilliantly before others now, always graceful and composed before the cameras. But I knew her better than anyone. Deep down, she was painfully insecure. Since I had been driven away, she would never write such wonderful music again. She would likely fall back into her old abyss. Her inspiration dried up and her creativity stalled. Then she would doubt her own talent and ability, and finally give up on herself, like she had as a child. But I quickly crushed that flicker of pity. The heartless decision to throw me out had been a joint vote by those wonderful sisters of mine. They had never considered me true family. Why should I humiliate myself by worrying about them, when I did not reject her outright as usual? Mu Yulu could not help but sneer to herself. She thought she had seen through my little game. She thought my earlier defiance was just a ploy for more money. But just as she smugly congratulated herself, I mocked her without mercy. You want me to return to that stinking dump to play piano? Sorry, it disgusts me. I am afraid it will dirty my hands. I will never set foot in that dump again. Besides, we truly have nothing to do with each other. Would you to please stop loitering in my home? The living room fell deathly silent. The assistant stared at me in disbelief. Is something wrong with your head? Have you gone insane? If you let this opportunity from President Mu slip away, you will regret it for the rest of your life. In the snobbish assistant's eyes, as long as I knew my place and apologized, even if I stayed with the Mu family under a different status, I would surely rise to great heights with the Mu family. Even my mother and sister would enjoy the good life. Fighting down her fury, Mu Yulu pointed a finger in my face and snapped. Mu Chen, out of mercy, I am giving you one final chance. Lower your head and apologize to me right now. Then get your ass over every weekend and practice piano with your second sister. The generous terms I offered still stand. I gave her one blunt reply. Get out. Mu Yulu stormed out and slammed the door. In the car, she swore to cut all ties with me for good. She would focus on preparing a grand welcome party for her biological brother, Mu Xuan. Just then, a spending statement arrived on her phone. Every one of the 530,000 in charges came from Mu Xuan. The bill did not specify what it was spent on. To her, that enormous sum was barely a drop in the bucket. Her biological brother had endured 20 hard years away from home. She considered it a small way for an older sister to make it up to him. Meanwhile, Mu Leyao learned some shocking news. She only found out while chatting with her mentor on the phone. My talent for piano far surpassed hers. That stage performance spot had never been decided by lottery. I had voluntarily given my place to her. It instantly reminded her of something I had once asked. Our family will always be together, right? The following night, I stepped onto the university campus. Yesterday, I kept thinking about one thing. What could make the rest of my life meaningful? But in this world, everything requires money. I had to build a fortune as quickly as possible. Having lived twice, my mind was full of business opportunities. I could snap up prime downtown real estate at rock-bottom prices, or invest heavily in an undervalued stock with potential. But those investments would take far too long to pay off. Before long, I found a shortcut to making money. So I signed up for tonight's freshman welcome show. On campus, I happened to run into Qinghuan. The two of us headed to the auditorium together. Inside the spacious, brightly lit auditorium, dazzling spotlights were already focused on the main stage. As one of the country's top-ranked universities, its freshman welcome show was an extravagant affair. The university had invited several major media outlets to cover it, and launched an official live stream on popular platforms. The show had not even begun yet, but more than 1,000 viewers had already joined the live stream. The moment we arrived, our sharp-eyed counselor spotted us. He practically dragged us into the backstage lounge. Qinghuan looked at me, utterly puzzled. I was usually an extremely low-key person, yet I had unexpectedly signed up to perform on stage. During a break in preparations, the counselor came over and asked, "Tonight's freshman welcome show is extremely important. The university leaders have arranged for you to open the show. Mu Chen, are you completely sure you can handle it?" I nodded calmly at his words. "Do not worry, leave it to me. I would say my piano playing is decent enough." Soon, the freshman welcome show officially began. The host was stunned to see me seated at the piano. He had heard that I would perform an entirely original piece. The audience buzzed. "Who is this guy? He is awfully cocky. An original piano piece. Is he really that good? You do not know. You have been living under a rock. That's Mu Chen, the brother of Jiangsheng's wealthiest person. But I heard the real heir was found a few days ago. The Mu family already released a statement cutting ties with him." With a sharp click as the power cut out, the stage's brilliant lights abruptly went dark. The auditorium became so silent, a pin drop could be heard. A blinding spotlight shone down from above. Its beam locked firmly onto me. I followed the light to the piano at center stage. Then I sat at the bench with calm elegance. I lifted the piano lid and adjusted the microphone. In the breathless silence of thousands, piano notes flowed out like a mountain stream. This exquisite melody, unlike anything anyone had heard before, left the students and faculty staring at one another in shock. They had come expecting a joke, assuming this original piece would be crude and amateurish. They never expected this guy to be the real deal. Gentle notes gradually filled the vast auditorium. In the steadily rising music, the audience seemed to see sunlight streaming through a church's stained glass windows, softly falling over a bride in her wedding gown. A perfect couple gazed into each other's eyes, brimming with love, just as the newlyweds were about to make their vows before the priest. The joyous melody suddenly turned sorrowful. The beautiful wedding scene the music had painted became as fragile and illusory as a reflection in water, as though all that beauty had been nothing but a fleeting dream. An invited influencer in the audience shouted, "What is the name of this heavenly piece?" "Dream Wedding." When the piece ended, I bowed and left the stage. The university's welcome show continued as planned, but out in the unseen online world, my piano solo had already sparked a frenzy. High-definition footage of my performance spread wildly across the internet. Dream Wedding shot straight to the top of the trending charts. "Oh my God, he is so handsome." His long fingers were not striking piano keys at all. Every note landed right on my heart. Why can I not find this masterpiece on any platform? Do not tell me this is a brand new, original premiere. As discussion of the piano piece exploded exponentially, a domestic music streaming giant could no longer sit still. It sent its music director to our university overnight, determined to secure exclusive rights at any cost. Meanwhile, Mu Zhuan's welcome home banquet was underway. Holding a wine glass, Mu Yulu was deeply puzzled. Why could she not spot her second sister anywhere in the room? She was supposed to thank the guest with a piano performance. Just then, that director stopped me backstage. "Mr. Mu Chen, it is a pleasure to meet you. We are eager to buy the exclusive streaming rights to this piece. Would you be interested in working with us?" He went on and on, offering all kinds of tempting royalty splits. He never imagined I would agree so readily. I planned to sell all rights to the piece outright. For him, it would be an incredibly profitable deal. Just as we were about to settle on a final price, the lounge door was violently shoved open. "Mu Chen, do not sell it. Think long-term. Do not fixate on the small amount of money." The one who barged in was my dear second sister, Mu Leyao. After watching the live stream, she rushed straight here. "I know you were thrown out and desperately need money now, but you cannot sacrifice the future by selling all the rights. The longer you hold on to this piece, the more valuable it becomes." I did not even spare her a glance or answer right away. Instead, I coldly threw back a question. "When they forced me to pack up and get out of the Mu family, you voted in favor too. Am I right?" Mu Leyao visibly froze at that. Then her eyes reddened as she nodded guiltily. Watching her put on that act, I felt nothing. I had long given up on that cold-blooded prison. Mu Leyao had a heart full of words she wanted to share. "Mu Chen, do you know how miserable I have been lately? Without you there to practice with me, I cannot sleep all night. Can I still ask you to play a duet with me like before? I miss the days when we sat side by side. We used to be so close." The moment she built up the courage, I cut her off sharply. "What the hell do any of your bullshit words have to do with me? If you want to play piano, go back to your mansion. Do not come here pretending to be crazy and playing dumb." My words left Mu Leyao rooted to the spot. In all her lofty arrogance, she never imagined I would show her such open disgust. Before, all she had to say was, "Come practice with me." and I would practice with her for over a decade, rain or shine. Throughout those long years, even when sick with a fever, I was never a second late. Deep down, she knew better than anyone that practicing piano with her had once meant everything to me. So, why was my gaze so cold now? The crushing contrast made Mu Leyao's eyes redden further. Mu Chen, how did you become so cold-blooded? You never had the heart to speak harshly to me before. I truly love hearing you play the piano. When you have time, will you come keep me company again? Those disgusting words made me laugh in fury. Was I losing my mind? Or had these people all developed amnesia? Who was it that called me the Mu family's trash? Who said I was worthless and only an eyesore at home? That was why you all joined forces to throw me out, after mercilessly kicking me into the sewer. Now that I am doing well, you suddenly remember my worth. Have you no shame? I spoke without the slightest courtesy. First, if something is seriously wrong with your head, go see a psychiatrist. Do not pretend we are close. I barely know you. As I spoke, I called campus security right in front of her. Hello, security. This is the backstage lounge. There is an unauthorized outsider harassing me. Please send a few people to drag her out. After hanging up, I looked down at her from above. Second, my affairs are none of your business. My life is far too valuable to waste what little time I have left arguing with a hypocrite like you. In that instant, overwhelming hurt flooded Mu Leyao's heart. She never expected things to spiral this far out of control. Back then, spoiled by everyone's affection, she often acted out and made mistakes. She had even cruelly trampled on my dignity several times. Each time, she only had to offer a half-hearted apology, and I would forgive her at once, with no boundaries at all. By the next day, we would be reconciled. So she arrogantly believed that if she lowered her head, this time would be just like all the countless times before. If she condescended to admit fault, I would be deeply grateful. Then I would resume practicing piano with her. That was why she could not understand, no matter how hard she tried. Why, after humbling herself to come and apologize in person, I dared give her such a humiliating rejection, just as she suppressed her shock and humiliation, ready to play the big sister card and guilt-trip me again. The on-duty security guards rushed into the lounge. Miss, are you a student at this university? If not, please cooperate and leave immediately. At last, a flicker of panic appeared on Mu Leyao's face. She stepped forward, as if she still wanted to argue, but I had already put on my noise-canceling headphones in annoyance. Completely ignored, she was overcome by a wave of hurt. A needle-like pain spread through her chest. She could not understand how things had reached such a deadlock, nor could she understand why the brother whose eyes had once held only her had changed so completely. For the first time, the ever-proud Mu Leyao felt afraid. She was terrified that the shadow who had always followed her would now be torn from her life forever. As the security guards grew more forceful in sending her away, Mu Leyao could only lower her head in humiliation. She was escorted from the lounge like a stray dog. When she drifted back to the estate in a daze, the lavish welcome home banquet was nearly over. Xuan was singing his heart out beneath the spotlight. He suddenly spotted his third sister standing blankly in the crowd. He thought his singing had moved his sister. Little did he know, Mu Leyao was crying because he sounded so awful. Both were her brothers. One had masterful piano skills that stunned the entire room, while this biological brother howled like a dying animal. The stark contrast made her so upset she wanted to cry. After suffering through the night until late the next morning, the first thing she did upon waking with a start was grab her phone. She tentatively sent a message to that chat. She wanted to see whether he had unblocked her. But the moment she unlocked her phone, a news alert popped up. A music platform had officially signed piano prodigy Mu Chen. It had paid $1 million to buy out all rights to Dream Wedding. After reading the viral press release, she could not help cursing. What a complete idiot with no business sense. She had earnestly warned him not to rush into selling it. With her sharp eye from years in entertainment, she conservatively estimated that in less than 10 years, royalties alone would bring in at least $5 million. That did not even count the enormous profits it could generate decades later. The infuriating news left her heart aching and unable to sleep. After hearing that piano solo, which stunned the entire internet, she knew my piano technique had reached its pinnacle. The weathered quality of my playing rivaled masters who had honed their craft for decades. That realization made doubts rise within her. Had I been hiding my true skill while practicing with her all those years? Otherwise, how could I have awakened so suddenly the moment I left? Could it have been to protect her self-esteem? After receiving the $2 million rights fee, I rushed straight to the hospital and filled prescriptions for a pile of imported specialty medicines. Then I squatted by the roadside wolfing down a savory Chinese pancake. Zhang Jingran happened to witness the jarring scene. If he had not seen it himself, he never would have believed it. A piano genius who had earned $1 million from one piece was, in private, surprisingly rough around the edges and down to earth. Strictly following the buyout contract, I went into the studio and recorded Dream Wedding. Zhang Jingran respectfully brought me a cup of premium black tea. Mr. Mu, the full payment has been transferred to your account. The reason he was so attentive to a young man like me was that I had only just turned 20. At that age, I had written a masterpiece like this. Who could guarantee this monster did not have more material in reserve? Who could say he would not produce a second or third masterpiece? If they poured resources into winning me over now, they would have a better chance at securing future exclusives. Beaming, Zhang Jingran stood and offered me his hand. Mr. Mu, here is to a successful first collaboration. If you create more timeless works like this in the future, I trust you have seen our sincerity. We would all look forward to working with you again. But his warmth met a cold reception. He had delivered a long string of flattering pleasantries. Yet I sat there like a wooden post, giving no response. I did not even make a move to stand and shake his hand. My arrogant manner secretly irritated him. Still, he had spent years in the industry and met plenty of eccentrics. There was no shortage of gifted geniuses with strange tempers. Just as he was about to turn and leave, I finally lifted my eyes and spoke. Sorry, my brain stalled for a moment. I drifted off. Since you are so eager for another collaboration, there is no need to waste time waiting for next time. Why wait? Let us do it today. Then, with one casual remark, I shocked him so badly his jaw nearly hit the floor. I have another complete original score in my pocket. Its quality is no worse than Dream Wedding. The entire recording studio fell deathly silent. Zhang Jingran was not the only one whose worldview was shattered. Even the recording engineer beside him stared wide-eyed. To them, a masterpiece like Dream Wedding was destined to become a timeless classic. Writing such a piece at 20 already made someone an unparalleled prodigy. Yet right before their eyes, I claimed to have another masterpiece of the same caliber. How could that not leave them horrified and stunned? Zhang Jingran's expression was a sight to behold. He had truly struck gold. If I could really produce an equally brilliant piece, then this monster's musical talent and creative genius had reached a level too terrifying to imagine. But how could such a dazzling, heaven-sent star have gone unknown in the industry for 20 years? Suppressing his excitement, he respectfully invited me to sit. He could not wait to hear this mysterious work for himself. When my hands spread across the keys, countless rapid-fire notes poured forth like floodwaters through an open dam. Then the music plunged into a hysterical frenzy. The instant I touched the keys, I became someone else. It was as if I were furiously raging against fate through this piece. I vented every emotion with wild abandon until I was utterly spent. Zhang Jingran trembled from head to toe with excitement. He had truly found a priceless treasure. The earlier Dream Wedding had a beautiful melody, but its only criticism was that it was too easy to play. This showpiece, however, was the complete opposite. My dizzying hand speed made it seem as though my fingers were fighting one another. Meanwhile, at the grand yet lonely Mu family estate, Mu Yulu knocked on Mu Leyao's door for ages. Leyao, stop sleeping. Come downstairs and eat. But when the door slowly opened inward, Mu Leyao drifted out with disheveled hair, like a walking corpse. Her wretched state gave Mu Yulu a fright. Leyao, what's wrong? Are you feeling sick? But she quickly guessed the real problem. Is it because of that ungrateful Mu Chen? You secretly went to see him last night. Did he say something hurtful to you? Come on. Your sister will go make him pay. Mu Yulu thought it was one thing for Mu Chen to give her a hard time. After all, because of her past negligence, Mu Chen had suffered some injustice. But what had her second sister ever done to wrong him? Instead, Mu Leyao burst into tears. Do you really think I wrote those songs myself? Could I really write hit songs like those? Mu Yulu froze, then hurried to comfort her. Of course. Who else could have written them but you? Hearing that, Mu Leyao sobbed even harder. It was Mu Chen. He wrote every one of them for me. Did a fever scramble your brain? How could that ungrateful wretch possibly write songs? Mu Yulu could not understand what nonsense she was spouting. Mu Chen had lived with the Mu family for over a decade. She had never heard that he possessed such talent. Even if he did know some music theory, what could that possibly have to do with the songs you wrote? Ever since Mu Chen blacklisted me, Mr. Zhu has not replied to any of my messages either. That is why I am certain Mr. Zhu is Mu Chen. Mu Yulu was instantly stunned. Then she suddenly remembered who Mr. Zhu was. He had tailored several incredible songs for her sister. Every one of them was absurdly high in quality. They were all phenomenon-level hits that dominated music platforms. Mu Yulu had once wanted to find this benefactor, so she could properly thank him for her sister's sake. But he had never appeared in public. And over all these years, Mr. Zhu had only contacted Leyao online, through a private channel. If this mysterious master were really Mu Chen, Mu Yulu would never believe it, not in a million years. It is impossible. This must be a coincidence. He could not possibly possess such extraordinary talent. But before she could finish, her sister interrupted. Mu Chen really does have that kind of astonishing talent. Maybe you have not had time to follow recent entertainment news, but Mu Chen has just composed a masterpiece. Even my mentor cannot stop praising it. The country's largest music platform even paid a fortune for the rights. Mu Yulu truly had not followed entertainment news, but after hearing her sister's shocking explanation, the first thought that entered her mind was, that ungrateful Mu Chen had been this calculating all along. For over a decade at the Mu house, he had hidden his ability and never played a single piece. Yet the moment he was thrown out, he immediately ran off to show off. Just then, Mu Yulu received a call from her lawyer. Ms. Mu, we have made progress on the matter you asked me to investigate discreetly. It is the old allegation that Mu Chen harassed a female college student. The evidence conclusively proves the girl made a false accusation. Mu Chen was framed from beginning to end. We uncovered an illicit payment in that girl's account. The sender was none other than your biological brother, Mu Xuan. This bombshell revelation shattered everything she believed. The ever-decisive Mu Yulu sank into deep self-reproach. She recalled when the scandal had first erupted. Based solely on prejudice, she had insisted Mu Chen was guilty. To hush up the scandal and preserve the Mu family's hollow reputation, she had ruthlessly denied Mu Chen any chance to defend himself. While the Mu family was in chaos, the internet exploded again. The topic, music platform acquires new piano piece, suddenly shot to #1 on every trending list. Online onlookers were left completely dumbfounded. Good grief. What got into this guy? How is he churning out masterpieces like they are on an assembly line? And he is somehow keeping up the insane pace of one song a day. So who exactly is this Mu Chen? Meanwhile, I was hiding in a park behind the school. Leaning on the railing, I watched adults take their children boating on the lake. Perhaps the loneliness and hardship my soul had endured across the lifetimes were to blame. But I had envied that kind of family warmth more than once. Mu Chen, you notorious class cutter. I knew you would be hiding here. Why did you not come to class today? A familiar, bright female voice interrupted my thoughts. Qinghuan stood below the steps and held out her hand to me. Why are you standing up there like a fool, stiff as a post? Hurry up and give me a hand. I bent down and reached out to pull her up. But the moment she put weight on my hand, I nearly toppled into the lake. Mu Chen, are you all right? Why does it feel like you have gotten so much weaker? As I panted, her careless remark made something inside me suddenly shatter. If not for this damn terminal illness, I could have faced Qinghuan's love with courage. I would have had countless chances in the future to take my mother and sister boating at our leisure. But Qinghuan's painfully casual question slapped me awake from that dream and back into cold reality. A dying man like me has no right to such hopes. Mu Chen, you are incredible now. I heard you sold one piece for 2 million. The whole internet is wildly praising you as a genius. I buried my sorrow and spoke coldly, without mercy. Qinghuan, I do not know what we are anymore. But if we are a couple, then let's break up. Qinghuan's mind went blank at those words. She had never imagined I would say that to her. Did I do something wrong? Did I make you angry? You did nothing wrong. I am the one who changed. When I was signing contracts with those people in that high-end office building, do you know how they described my future? They made me one promise. I would work with veteran musicians and celebrities. I would enter an entirely new world of high society. So I will not give all that up for you. Qinghuan's slender body trembled, and her eyes reddened. Those heartless words stabbed her heart like a flurry of poison needles. When she looked up through held-back tears, I had already walked away. When I dragged my dazed, empty shell home, I collapsed onto the old sofa like a heap of mud. Hearing the noise, my mother hurried over in distress. Come on, son, the sofa is drafty. Do not fall asleep here, or you will catch a cold. Listen to your mother. Go get some proper sleep in your bed. Seeing that exhaustion had already plunged me into deep sleep, my mother tried to pull out the blanket beneath me to cover me with it. But the moment she tugged, her eyes turned red. Heartbroken, she realized her son had become so light. My son, what have you suffered out there? In that heartbreaking silence, urgent knocking suddenly sounded at the door. Please open the door. Is anyone home? The unwelcome visitor was none other than eldest sister Mu Yulu. She had come to privately negotiate compensation to keep me quiet. But this performance was hardly born of a guilty conscience. She only wanted to stop me from airing the Mu family's dirty laundry. After being stung by her second sister Mu Leyao's words, she grimly went through every trending post about me. Only then did she confirm that I had gone viral because of the piano pieces. I had suddenly become the center of an online storm. If I brought up the past at the height of my popularity, it would severely damage the Mu family's reputation. To show her sincerity, she had not even brought an assistant. Her makeup and clothes were carefully styled to make her look like a warm, caring sister. After wiping away her tears, Mother quickly opened the security door. But when she saw Mu Yulu standing outside again, her normally kind expression instantly darkened. "What are you doing here again, you heartless boss?" Seeing Mother's hostility toward her, Mu Yulu's fake smile froze on her face. But as a seasoned businesswoman, she quickly recovered. The unpleasantness last time was because Mu Chen and I had a misunderstanding. I came today to have a calm talk with Mu Chen. I just went to his university, but the boy was not there. So I thought my brother should be home by now. As she spoke, Mu Yulu slipped inside while Mother was distracted. "Please accept the small gift, ma'am." She took two boxes of exorbitantly expensive tea from her estate and set them heavily on the old, chipped coffee table. But Su Whelan grabbed the tea from the table and shoved it back at her. "Take it away, who wants your filthy handouts?" The gesture left Mu Yulu utterly stunned. Privately, she cursed this pathetic family for having lost their minds. Why was every last one of them so explosive? In Mu Yulu's condescending view, Su Whelan should have been an honest woman anyone could push around. Why had this poor woman's attitude changed so suddenly? "Please calm down, ma'am. I sincerely came to see your son this time. I want to formally apologize to my former brother. I admit I did not treat him well before." Mu Yulu had humbled herself to come see Mu Chen this time, because she was not only pressured to apologize but also needed something from him. So she had no choice but to swallow her anger and stay patient. Normally, this living devil would have turned hostile on the spot. Hearing that she had come to apologize, Mother's expression softened considerably. But her wariness still made her want to send Mu Yulu away. Mother remembered that this woman had claimed she came to apologize last time too. Had she not kept insisting that she came to make peace? Yet in the end, they had still fallen out completely. Just as Su Whelan was about to throw her out, I pushed open my bedroom door. "Mom, who are you arguing with?" Seeing that I was home, Mu Yulu quickly walked over. "Can we talk in your room?" I did not even look up. I stepped back, preparing to close the door. But at that moment, I was no longer strong enough to overpower Mu Yulu. She gripped the doorknob tightly and said, "Do you know, Leyao has been a wreck since you left. She has not slept for days, especially after she saw you that night. She has been utterly distraught, with no appetite at all. She locks herself in her room all day." My voice was completely flat. What does that have to do with me? Already stung by Su Whelan's repeated insults, Mu Yulu finally lost her composure. Perhaps, deep down, she still thought I was her obedient little brother. She immediately raised her voice. "Is your heart made of stone? Leyao is in that state, and you are still making heartless remarks. How many times have I humiliated myself begging you? What exactly do you want? Do you have any conscience at all?" The moment she finished, a roar filled my ears. A tearing agony struck me in an instant, so painful that I could not make a sound. Mu Yulu still put on the airs of an elder sister. "I admit I handled some things badly in the past. If you resent me for it, I accept that. But what gives you the right to treat our second sister like this? Did you scold her that night? Or did you lay a hand on her? Otherwise, how could she have ended up in such a state? I can tolerate anything else. But today, you will explain this." By then, Mu Yulu's face was full of disappointment. Earlier, she had seen me carefully treasure the old things they had casually given me. She had thought I cherished our family bond. Apparently, she had only been fooling herself. By then, I had recovered somewhat. "Have you all lost your minds? Didn't you pop champagne to celebrate the day I left? How should I know why she suddenly got sick? Besides, you said it yourself." Hearing this, Mu Yulu could no longer suppress the rage burning inside her. "Enough, you ungrateful wretch." She had just raised her hand, ready to slap me as she had before, when the first seized her wrist. Caught off guard, she stumbled. "Have you even asked her why she is like this?" Mu Yulu, still dazed from the kick, froze at my words. It was true. She really had never asked Mu Leyao why she had fallen apart. She had only seen her sister's misery, then jumped to the conclusion that it was all my fault. "Get the hell out of my house." As soon as I said it, a stabbing pain tore through my head again. It hurt so badly that I clutched my head. "How dare you speak to me like that? Before Mu Yulu could finish, she noticed something was wrong with me. Mu Chen, are you alright? She suddenly remembered his malnutrition problem. Sit down and rest. Tomorrow, I will book you an appointment with a specialist. Having said that, she secretly felt relieved. Mu Yulu believed that if she did this much, then whatever happened to my health later would have nothing to do with her. And about what happened before, I really was wrong. I have investigated it thoroughly. That girl spread rumors and framed you. But that is all in the past now. Do not bring it up in public again. You are sulking and acting out. All because of that mess about leaving the Mu family, right? As long as you agree to my conditions, I can allow you back into the Mu family. She had already worked it all out before coming. It would serve as compensation. And once I returned to the Mu family, I could practice piano with her second sister. Besides, in businesswoman Mu Yulu's eyes, I was an extremely valuable investment. After weighing the pros and cons, Mu Yulu made this decision. But I have one condition for your return to the Mu family. You must apologize to Leyao and me. After all, once you return, we will be family again. Those cruel things you said before, and what you did, were a little out of line. Mu Yulu once again acted like my superior. She still longed for the obedient boy I used to be. So even though she had made concessions, she still had to put me in my place. I was so furious, I could barely think straight. I could not understand where she got such absurd confidence. What the hell are you talking about? The pain racking my body had already put me in a foul mood, and I still had to listen to an idiot spout nonsense here. That was enough to make me lose my temper. Ever since that phone call from you, have I ever said one word about going back? Who gave you the idea you could be so full of yourself? You are the one acting like you are out of your mind. Coming here every few days to pick a fight with me. Is your brain full of mush? Mu Yulu instantly exploded. Fine. I have said everything I can. Nice and not so nice. I have done all I could. It is your own fault you are hopeless. Do not ever dream of entering the Mu family again. Even if you kneel and beg me, it will do no good. I laughed in sheer disbelief. Thank you so very much. I could just cry myself to death over not being able to return to the Mu family. Oh, and besides keeping me out of the Mu family, could you hurry up and get the hell out now? And do not come back to ruin my day again. If you can do that, I will not even deserve the privilege of seeing you again. Mu Yulu immediately began trembling with rage. Together with the solid kick she had just taken, she was gritting her back teeth hard enough to crack them. Jiangsheng's wealthiest person had personally come to apologize. She had already humbled herself enough to come to my door. Yet instead of being grateful, I had treated her like a punching bag and lashed out at her. How could she fail to hear the sarcasm in my voice? Yet she stubbornly insisted that I wanted to return to the Mu family. Putting everything else aside, if I returned to the Mu family, at least the living conditions would be 100 times better than this rundown storage room. Just then, Mu Yulu's phone began vibrating in her pocket. She had intended to reject the call, but her expression softened when she saw the caller ID. Leyao. What is it? Mu Leyao asked anxiously from the other end. Sis, how did things go with Mu Chen? Did he agree to come home? Mu Yulu's expression instantly stiffened. Since it was her own younger sister calling, she patiently explained what had happened. Her embellished account was full of biased fabrications. She portrayed herself as the innocent victim, while casting me as a conscienceless, ungrateful wretch. Standing beside her, I nearly laughed out loud, but I could not be bothered to expose her lies. If anything, I wanted her to slander me this way, so those two would stop bothering me. After Mu Yulu finished unloading her grievances, she thought that after hearing it, her sister would give up on me completely and abandon any thought of practicing piano with me. Instead of overthinking herself into poor health, but unexpectedly, Mu Leyao burst into tears on the other end. Then she begged her sister to put the phone on speaker. Mu Chen, your sister knows you have been wronged, but please stop fighting with our eldest sister, all right? You know what our eldest sister's temper is like. Listen to her and come home with her. I am begging you. Before Mu Yulu could scold her sister for being so spineless, for lowering herself before an outsider, I snatched the phone away. Take your eldest sister and stay away from me. Meanwhile, Qinghuan went home, utterly dejected. She had gone off campus to find me because I skipped class, and ended up missing evening study hall too. She locked her bedroom door and did not turn on the lights. She sat blankly by her bed, her thoughts in turmoil. Memories of the past flooded her mind uncontrollably. She remembered freshman military training. She vaguely remembered how unbearably hot it was that day. Their caps were soaked enough to wring out sweat. The instructor cut up a watermelon as a treat for everyone. The whole class thought the instructor was being kind for once. But once the watermelon slices were laid out on the ground, they realized the instructor's twisted sense of humor had struck again. Sure enough, the instructor ordered the boys and girls to sit facing each other, with watermelon between them. Then he started a little game to test their reflexes. After he finished counting down and shouted, "Eat," they could grab the slice in front of them. But who would have thought? The instructor said he would count down. But the moment they sat down, he shouted, "Eat." The place instantly erupted into chaos. Qinghuan remembered it clearly. She had been distracted and reacted a full beat too late. I had already reached the watermelon across from her. Only then did she snap back to her senses. Just as she thought, that slice was destined to slip through her fingers. I pushed it over to her. She froze completely. It was not until the crowd broke into rounds of knowing cheers and teasing that she came to her senses, blushing furiously. Shyly, she picked up the watermelon. Because of that sweet gesture, the others teased that I had earned first dibs at finding a girlfriend. A faint smile had just touched her lips when another memory surfaced, that incident in senior year. She had been walking home from school alone when a middle-aged man with a knife suddenly appeared. She had no quarrel with him and had never even met him before. But the man seemed completely unhinged. The moment he saw her, he lunged at her with knife raised. Pedestrians screamed and scattered in every direction. They only dared watch from a distance, at most calling the police for help. I did not hesitate for even a second. I immediately threw aside my bike, grabbed a mop from outside a shop, and risked my life to knock the knife from the madman's hand. Then, with several bystanders, I subdued him. She remembered accompanying me to the hospital to have my wounds bandaged. She wept so hard she could barely speak as she asked me, "Were you willing to throw your life away fighting a criminal?" I did not say a word then. I only kept comforting her gently. She still remembered what she had blurted out then. "If anything happens to you, I will not want to live either." I coaxed her into taking those words back. That was the day she made a silent vow. If we ever faced such desperate danger again, she would risk her life for me too. There were countless memories like that. Now, she desperately tried to forget them all. But the images clung to her like a shadow, aching faintly inside her. Was it really because you entered a new world and met new people that your heart changed? She and I had known each other for 5 years, since high school. She had once believed her feelings for me were nothing more than a vague attraction. Only today did she finally understand. She had fallen deeply in love with me long ago. She loved everything about me. She loved the way I haggled when I bought things, the way I drank Coke in huge gulps, and the way I quietly read a book. It only took a moment to fall for someone, but she had loved me deeply for 5 years. At that thought, she frantically searched for her phone. "Mu Chen, you have to be joking, right? Those heartless words you said earlier were just meant to fool me, right? Have you forgotten everything?" As she sent message after message, her once resolute heart began to waver in panic. How desperately she wished that I would send her a reply right then. "I was only teasing you. You saw right through me." But the chat window remained deathly silent. Then she called me. After the first call went unanswered, she tried a second time, only to discover that I had blocked her. After my mother and I threw Mu Leyao out, Mom even warned her harshly. No matter how powerful a boss Mu Leyao was, Mom was not afraid of her. If she dared trouble her son again, Mom would call the police and have her arrested. The furious Mu Leyao had barely left the building when she spotted a supercar parked outside. She was used to seeing cars like that, but this one was different. She had personally given it to Mu Xuan at the banquet. The car window slowly rolled down. Mu Xuan leaned out, his face full of concern. "Sis, what happened? How did your clothes get dirty?" Mu Leyao climbed into the car with a cold expression. "It is nothing. Just drive." How could she admit the humiliating fact that she had been kicked? On the road, Mu Xuan cautiously spoke up. Did things not work out? Inside, he was already overjoyed. So he seized the chance to play the innocent, long-suffering victim. "Sis, was it because of me? After you told him the truth about his adoption, Mu Chen must hate me, right? Even though we had never met and had no grudge, he must think I ruined his life. That is why he was so furious." As Mu Xuan spoke, he got so caught up in the act that he almost sounded sincere. His voice turned nasal, tinged with a faint sob. "Sis, why did not we go back? This time, I will apologize to Brother Mu Chen with you. As long as we can beg Brother Mu Chen to come home. As long as second sister is happy. I do not care what happens to me. I can endure him hitting or scolding me." After hearing this, Mu Yulu's blood pressure, which had just settled, showed signs of shooting up again. She slammed her hand against the car window. Did I not tell you to focus on driving? Why bring up that ungrateful brat? Mu Xuan was startled by her reaction. He really wanted to add, as long as second sister is happy, I would even die for her. But even he thought that sounded too fake. Just then, the phone rang. Mu Yulu answered it. Attorney Lu. What is it? Ms. Mu, we have gotten to the bottom of it. The one behind the plot to frame Mu Chen was your biological brother, Mu Xuan. Mu Xuan heard every word. Panicking, he slammed on the brakes. Mu Yulu stared in utter shock. Mu Xuan, why did you do this? At first, she thought it was merely someone with the exact same name. But seeing Mu Xuan's guilty reaction, she knew the truth. Still, she had one question. When that incident happened 6 months ago, Mu Xuan had not even returned to the Mu family yet. Eldest sister, why do you suspect me? What would I gain from doing any of this? Did I not just say that if you want Mu Chen to come back, I would even apologize to him? Mu Yulu hesitated again after hearing that. She did not truly want to pursue the truth. The Mu family's real son had been found, and that imposter had been kicked out. The Mu family could finally get back on track. She did not want any more turmoil over Mu Chen. Half an hour later, they returned to the estate. The estate's design plans had been revised dozens of times by leading experts, from the overall courtyard layout to the placement of a single decorative stone. Everything reflected the designer's painstaking work. A pavilion before the main house faced the entrance. Mu Leyao had been waiting there for a long time. When she saw two people get out of the car, she could not hide her delight. But as they drew closer, she saw who they were. Though it was her biological brother who had returned, disappointment still flickered in Mu Leyao's eyes. At least at that moment, she had hoped more to see Mu Chen, eldest sister. Mu Leyao had just started to speak, when Mu Yulu raised a hand to stop her. We will talk inside. The three of them went inside. Mu Leyao found a familiar face sitting in the living room. And Huang Meiling had already been on edge. At the sight of Mu Xuan, she began trembling all over. Mu Yulu first dismissed the other servants. Only then did she speak coldly and sternly. Huang Meiling, you signed a confidentiality agreement for betraying the family that employed you. If I sue you, you will have to pay out every penny you have ever earned. After Huang Meiling heard the warning, her legs shook uncontrollably with fear. Before anyone could question her further, she confessed everything. Mu Xuan had indeed been behind it back then. He told her to find a girl to falsely accuse Mu Chen of harassment. Mu Xuan had transferred the hush money to. Mu Leyao was struck dumb by those words. She could not understand why Mu Xuan would do such a thing. Had that not happened a year ago, how could Mu Xuan possibly be involved? But the evidence was right before her eyes. Mu Leyao stopped dwelling on the timeline. She pointed furiously at Mu Xuan. Why would you be so vicious? Do you have any idea how badly this hurt Mu Chen? But before she could finish, Mu Yulu slammed her palm onto the coffee table. Enough? Is this family not in enough chaos already? Leyao, he is your biological brother. He has suffered so much out there. No one has cared for or loved him all these years. Can you not show him a little understanding? Why do you defend that outsider at every turn? Mu Yulu's blatantly biased words left Mu Leyao utterly stunned. Once she came to her senses, she wanted to argue. The butler Liu discreetly stopped her. Beside them, Mu Xuan secretly sighed in relief. He had thought he would be severely punished this time. He never expected eldest sister to let it go so easily. Mu Yulu raised her hand, but in the end, she could not bring herself to slap him. No one is ever to mention this again. In her eyes, she had already apologized to Mu Chen over this. That old incident was long over. There was no need to turn the family against itself over an outsider. What mattered most was for the family to live in peace. As for why Mu Xuan had done this, Mu Yulu had a fairly good idea. She had sent people to search for Mu Xuan all these years, investigating countless adoptive families. As early as 2 years ago, she had contacted Mu Xuan's adoptive parents. She asked about the boy they had adopted, but something had gone wrong, and she did not receive a definite answer until a year later. During that year, she spoke with them several times, before confirming that the boy was Mu Xuan. After the DNA test was completed, she finally brought her biological younger brother home. She assumed that during that time, his adoptive parents had told Mu Xuan about it. As for Mu Xuan's motive, she believed he lacked a sense of security. After learning an imposter had taken his place, it was understandable that he had done something foolish on impulse. Seeing eldest sister dismiss it so lightly, Mu Leyao understood so much in an instant. Eldest sister's prejudice against Mu Chen ran bone deep. Mu Chen had suffered endless punishment because of this back then. Yet in eldest sister's words, he had become an irredeemable scumbag. Now Mu Leyao finally understood why Mu Chen refused to come home no matter what. The truth was obvious. Eldest sister would not even investigate the truth and clear Mu Chen's name. How could Mu Chen ever be willing to return? Leyao, wash your hands. Dinner is ready. I am not hungry, Mu Leyao said coldly, then turned and walked away. On her way back to her room, she suddenly realized something else. Could this really be the only thing Xuan had done? The more she thought about it, the more terrified she became. During Mu Chen's final year at home, he seemed to get into trouble every few days. Eldest sister's last scraps of patience for Mu Chen had been completely exhausted during that year. That was why, just days before Xuan returned, she had hardened her heart and made that cruel decision. The next morning, staff from NetEase Cloud Music came to my door. They planned to livestream a program about a musician's daily life. It was a requirement in my 4 million contract. I was now a major name in the piano world, with the show's built-in audience. The moment the livestream began, the viewer count neared 10,000. Is this dump really Mu Chen's home? Did the crew come to the wrong address? They must have the wrong place. This complex is as rundown as a scrapyard. It is no place for a major star. To be fair, the previous episodes felt pretty genuine. Let us not jump to conclusions yet. Soon, I pushed open my front door. I had been cyberbullied before, so I knew how vicious online trolls could be. That was why I did not want my family on camera. I had specifically arranged to be home alone today. The moment the host saw me, she could not help having doubts herself. Was this really the one who had made for million and shocked the world as a piano prodigy? The young man before her was dressed extremely simply. He wore a crewneck sweatshirt with faded cropped pants, plus a pair of no-name running shoes. His entire outfit likely cost less than 200 yuan. She had hosted so many episodes of the show. The other musicians dressed casually on the surface, but every item was an expensive luxury brand. Some even brought their own stylists. She had never seen a musician as shabby as me. The sight amused the viewers. His fashion sense is just as bad as mine. I searched for identical items on Zixi. His whole outfit cost 40 yuan at most. Brother Chen has made for million these past few days. Does he really need to be this cheap? Following the program's format, the host asked professional questions and about my creative journey. I had memorized the official answers long ago. I answered smoothly, without a single flaw. Then we moved on to the lifestyle segment. Mr. Mu Chen, where do you usually eat breakfast? Could you show the livestream audience? I nodded, picked up the phone on the table, and led the host outside. Just then, sharp-eyed viewers spotted something strange. Mu Chen's phone was unbelievable. It was so old it looked like an unearthed artifact. Even its screen was cracked. Where did he find that battle-scarred relic? The group soon reached the street. I had planned to splurge today and take a rideshare instead of cramming onto a bus. But when I pulled out my battered phone, there was not even a rideshare app installed. I could not bring myself to use mobile data to download one, so I led the crew toward the bus stop. Unfortunately, we had caught the brutal morning rush. Public transit in this area was especially inconvenient. All the nearby residents had crowded onto this platform. When the crew saw the dense, dark mass of people, they were immediately dumbfounded. Some squatted, some sat, and some stood. The enormous crowd was a spectacular sight. The host was practically despairing. She doubted she could squeeze onto the bus at all. Suddenly, the crowd began to stir. As the bus slowly pulled in, the waiting passengers' eyes turned resolute. They looked ready to fight to the death for a spot on board. Viewers flooded the live comments with jokes, taking the production crew onto a packed rush-hour bus. He has to be the first musician ever to do that. Honestly, I like Mu Chen more and more. He does not have any celebrity attitude. He is just like my broke college roommate. Fortunately, the bus route I needed was not quite as fiercely contested. The crew followed me aboard without too much trouble. The bus stopped and started all the way. Passengers were packed together like sardines. After being tossed around for 5 whole stops, the host had gone pale and looked ready to throw up. Thankfully, I finally got off at the next stop. It was nearly 10 o'clock. Normally, by this hour, I would save money by skipping breakfast and combine breakfast and lunch into one meal. The host nodded in understanding and gestured for me to keep leading the way to some food. But after looking around, she could not find a single decent restaurant nearby. Where exactly was Mu Chen taking them for lunch? I soon gave her the answer. I walked into a shabby convenience store. The store was empty and quiet, with no customers inside. It was open 24 hours a day. It barely survived on late-night customers. and had somehow managed to stay open. It had kept me company through countless hard days and nights. Seafood instant noodles again? My water has just come to a boil. The shop owner had been dozing off, but saw his regular customer walk in. He immediately perked up and greeted me. Add a soy braised egg and a sausage. A real meat sausage, not one full of starch. The owner grinned from ear to ear. Well, Xiaomu, did your scholarship come in today? It is rare to see you order such a luxurious meal. As he spoke, the owner got to work with practiced speed. He grabbed a cup of instant noodles from the shelf, tore open the seasoning, and poured in boiling water. Once the noodles softened, he tossed in the sausage and egg. I paid by scanning a code and carried my noodles outside. Then I squatted on the steps outside, slurping them down. That down-to-earth scene left viewers stunned. Is he deliberately crafting an image for the camera? That act is way over the top. What millionaire eats this for lunch? Did you not notice the owner's reaction? He was shocked just because Mu Chen added an egg and sausage. That shows he normally cannot even bring himself to add extras. Still, it feels staged to me. The contrast is just too ridiculous. While I was eating, the host selected some of the viewers' most common questions. Mr. Mu Chen, may I ask a few questions your fans care about? I swallowed my noodles and nodded. Could you show your phone to the camera? I blinked in surprise. I had no idea what she was up to. But they were paying me for million, so I did as she asked. When the camera zoomed in on that battle-scarred phone, everyone realized the viewers had not been exaggerating. Its screen was shattered like a spider web, and even pressing the power button made it freeze for 3 seconds. Mr. Mu Chen, why are you using this? With your talent, surely you can afford a new phone. I lowered my eyes with a bitter smile. At 20, I was diagnosed with terminal liver cancer. I had only 1 short year left to live. I had long stopped caring about material things. My family had thrown me out like a stray dog. Though I lived in a wealthy household, I was worse off than a dog. I had no intention of making those ugly matters public. I did not need anyone's cheap sympathy. The host noticed my low spirits. Tactfully, she changed the subject. She led me into the next filming segment. Though the in-person interview avoided the issue, online public opinion erupted. To God-tier piano pieces had burst onto the scene. My popularity had remained sky-high these past few days. I held more than 20 spots on the trending list, as clips from the livestream were shared everywhere. They ignited fierce debate across the internet. Who would have thought that a genius who became rich overnight lived like a beggar in private? He packed onto buses and squatted by the road eating instant noodles. Why would he do that? Why did the host stop questioning him halfway through? Her interviewing skills are awful. Dock her pay. Earlier posts had also claimed that Mu Chen was the biological younger brother of Jiangsheng's wealthiest person. Now it looks like nothing but fabricated slander. I have seen the richest woman's estate. Its luxury is beyond imagination. Whatever the truth is, this all feels fake to me. This is not frugality. It is pathological stinginess. Several rival companies jealous of my popularity saw those viral trending posts, then immediately hired paid trolls to viciously smear me. They called me a miser greedy for money, claiming I made a fortune yet made my family live in a rundown home. As long as they completely ruined my reputation, their own artist could regain popularity. The trending post comment sections instantly became toxic. Personal attacks emerged one after another. But public opinion soon took a shocking turn. A user named Summer Apple posted a video. It was none other than Qinghuan, the roommate who had refused to repay his debt. He first identified himself as my college roommate, admitting to the conflict over his debt a few days ago. Then he sincerely apologized in the video, and unexpectedly spoke up for me. I absolutely believe in Mu Chen's character. He is always this simple and thrifty. Those trolls accuse him of putting on an act. Some even claim he spent the money on illegal activities. I have screenshotted every one of your hateful comments. If Mu Chen sues you, I will provide the evidence. I have already contacted a lawyer. I am ready whenever you are. Qinghuan then clarified my background. Mu Chen really was once the younger brother of Jiangsheng's wealthiest person, but he was only an adopted son. Now he has returned to his biological mother. His mother suffered terribly searching for her lost son. It was even covered by local news. So I firmly believe Mu Chen is saving money to improve his family's life. I truly do not understand why your minds are so filthy. The clarification video ended abruptly there. Qingfeng had spent heavily to boost it. The video was quickly pushed to the top of the trending page. The past few days of trending post had scared Qingfeng weak at the knees. He feared I would settle old scores once I became famous. If I still held a grudge over that restaurant mess, all I had to do was post our chat records, and his brother's secure job would be gone for good. So he forced Qinhuan to record a video and make peace. Qin Feng was fairly satisfied with the result. The apology sounded sincere, and the clarification came in time. That eased his anxious heart somewhat. The video caused a huge sensation. Many viewers dug up old news reports about my mother traveling thousands of miles to find her son. At last, everyone understood the burden I carried. NetEase Cloud Music also released a statement at just the right time, announcing that the royalties for Mu Chen's To Pieces had been transferred in full to his mother's personal account. That completely turned public opinion around. The rival company's smear campaign backfired. Instead, it rallied my fans around me and strengthened their loyalty. I had not posted a single update, yet my social media following suddenly surged by 500,000. Watching viewers flood into the live stream, with heartfelt encouragement filling the screen, I was briefly stunned. Then a trace of warmth flowed through my cold heart. Thank you all for your concern. I saw some people saying they wanted to raise money for me. I appreciate the kindness, but I cannot accept the money. I can earn enough to support my family myself. A few days later, Mu Leyao's insomnia grew worse. Her days and nights were reversed, and her mental state was terrible. She frantically texted both me and Mr. Zhu, but neither gave her the slightest reply. Unable to stop herself, she sank into memories. She remembered how, as a child, I sweetly called her sister, endlessly tolerating her bad temper. She remembered her own spoiled, princess-like behavior. Whenever she made a mistake while practicing piano, she would lash out at me without reason, yelling at me in anger, even when I merely played better than she did. Wounding her sensitive, jealous heart, she would hysterically tell me to get out, saying she hated me and would never practice with me again. Yet every time, I never argued and only greeted her with a smile. The next day, as if I had forgotten everything, I would affectionately call her sister and practice piano with her again. Then the memories suddenly shifted. The scene from that day, when she had come to me on her own and bowed her head in apology, cut into Mu Leyao's heart like a knife. In despair, she understood that nothing could ever go back. Mu Chen, how did you become so cold? You used to be so gentle. I truly know I was wrong. Why will you not even leave me a way back? Tears spilled from Mu Leyao's eyes. If she had known the truth back then, known I had braved a blizzard to beg the teacher to give her a chance, she would never have agreed to throw me out of the family. She would have fought to the death to protect me. But Mu Leyao realized sorrowfully that yesterday, after eldest sister uncovered the truth behind the rumors, she still chose favoritism and refused to clear my name. And Mu Leyao had still been too cowardly to defy eldest sister. As for me, besides that chance to play a four-hand piano duet, I had secretly done countless things for her. Only after losing me did she realize how good I had been to her. At that thought, Mu Leyao sobbed until her whole body shook, tears pouring down her face. She wiped away her tears and grabbed her phone. She opened her chat with Mr. Zhu. Mr. Zhu's profile icon was still gray. The longer he remained out of contact, the more certain she became that I was Mr. Zhu. Her fingers trembling, she scrolled through their old messages. She reread every word of Mr. Zhu's encouragement from years ago. Her first original song swept the new song charts across music platforms. She had excitedly shared the news with Mr. Zhu. While encouraging her, Mr. Zhu had sternly warned her. One hit song was nowhere near enough. If she could not produce a second and third good song, listeners would soon forget her completely. The music industry has too many shooting stars that shine briefly, then fade. In the end, they all fade into obscurity. Now that Mu Leyao had found fame and success, she believed Mr. Zhu's words more than ever. It also plunged her into deep anxiety over her own talent. She had planned to shut herself away and write new songs. But for some reason, her mind was a tangled mess. She had no inspiration and could not write even a single chord. Just as she was at her wit's end, she suddenly noticed a post on Mr. Zhu's profile. It was an automatically generated location share. The post was blank, but its location was a hospital. Mu Leyao knew that hospital all too well. After eldest sister mentioned my malnutrition, she had secretly looked up my medical reports. They all bore that hospital's official seal. This irrefutable proof confirmed my identity beyond doubt. But after her wild joy, overwhelming panic instantly gripped her heart. Why was Mu Chen at the hospital again? What illness had they found this time? Filled with dread, Mu Leyao rushed straight to the hospital. She found my attending physician, Zhang Jingran. Hello, doctor. I'm Mu Chen's sister. Could you please tell me about his condition? Zhang Jingran adjusted his glasses. You say you are his biological sister. Then why have you never accompanied him to a follow-up appointment? After practicing medicine for half his life, he had seen countless people. Having witnessed so much life and death, he had learned one thing. For patients with terminal illnesses, mental torment is often worse than physical pain. So once an incurable illness was diagnosed, to protect the patient's emotional state, he would usually break the bad news to the family first. Then the family could judge the patient's ability to bear the cruel truth and decide whether to tell them. Zhang Jingran remembered me so clearly, because every time I had come alone, with no one by my side for my follow-up visits. Mu Leyao heard the emotion beneath the doctor's words. Her heart sank to rock bottom. Did my brother test positive for some terminal illness? I am sorry, but that is confidential patient information. If you truly were a sister close to him, why ask me instead of asking him yourself? Is there anything else? If not, please leave and close the door behind you. Many patients outside are still waiting to be seen. Mu Leyao was left speechless. Yes, if she had fulfilled her duty as his sister, why had she not stood beside him when he received the diagnosis? Why did she no longer even have the right to ask? As the next patient pushed open the door, Mu Leyao could only leave the examination room in a daze. Although Dr. Zhang had revealed nothing, the ominous feeling in her heart only grew stronger. The hallway was full of worried patients. Nearly every one of them had family at their side, comforting them. Those patients terrified of their medical reports gradually calmed beneath their family's gentle words. The thought tore Mu Leao's heart apart. If Mu Chen really had been diagnosed with a terminal illness, how desperate must he have felt, receiving that report all alone? No, do not scare yourself. Mu Chen will be all right. Fate will protect him. He is only 20. He is so young. Mu Leyao desperately tried to convince herself, forcing herself not to imagine the worst. In a daze, she left the hospital and got into her van. She took out her phone and played a video. Then she handed it to her driver in the front seat. Mr. Zhu, help me identify this place. Can you tell which district of Jiangcheng this is? The irony of it was unbearable. When I lived with the Mu family, she coldly ignored whether I lived or died. But after I was thrown out, she obsessively watched my every move. She watched every frame of the variety show I had filmed. She even clipped the part that revealed where I lived, hoping the driver could use the streets and buildings in the footage to pinpoint the slum neighborhood where I now rented a place. The sharp-eyed veteran driver quickly identified the apartment complex. When the doorbell rang cheerfully, Xiaonuan skipped toward the front door. Just as she stood on tiptoe to turn the handle, her mother's stern warning flashed through her mind. She stopped herself at once. She dragged over a small stool and climbed onto it, then cautiously peered through the peephole. A beautiful older girl in sunglasses stood outside, and she looked strangely familiar. Xiaonuan scratched her head, unable to place her at first. At that moment, Mu Leyao rang the doorbell again. Hello, is anyone home? After ringing twice with no answer, Mu Leyao thought I was out running errands, or that the driver had found the wrong address. She sighed and was about to turn away. Just then, the security door cracked open. A delicate little girl's head peeked out. Her big eyes blinked as she stared at her. Xiaonuan's voice trembled with excitement. Are you Mu Leyao, the famous singer on television? Mu Leyao turned to look at the little girl. Her features truly resembled mine. She froze for a moment, then removed her sunglasses and asked gently, Hi, sweetie, is this Mu Chen's home? When Xiaonuan heard that, her little face flushed red like a ripe apple. Yes, Mu Chen is my amazing big brother, Sister Leyao. My classmates and I are all your biggest fans. We can sing every one of your hit songs. You sing so beautifully. Learning that this little fan was my sister, Mu Leao's gaze instantly softened with tenderness. Thank you for liking me, little sister. Is your brother home right now? May I come in for a drink of water? Xiaonuan nodded eagerly. She enthusiastically took Mu Leao's hand and led her inside. After seating her idol on the living room sofa, the excited little fan busied herself nonstop. First, she ran to the refrigerator for a bottle of juice. Then she rummaged everywhere and brought out her hidden snacks. These were treats she normally craved but could not bear to eat. As a celebrity, Mu Leyao avoided sugar and never ate snacks. But she liked this little girl far too much. So she made an exception and opened a bag of chips, sharing the crunchy snack with Xiaonuan. As they chatted happily, Mu Leyao keenly noticed tear stains still lingered at the corners of Xiaonuan's eyes. She had clearly been hiding at home and crying. Mu Leyao took a tissue and asked softly, Xiaonuan, did someone hurt your feelings? Are you upset? You can tell me anything. I am a big star. I can help make it right. Hearing those gentle words, Xiaonuan's little mouth puckered, and she wailed as tears burst forth again. The sudden outburst startled Mu Leyao. She quickly gathered her into her arms and soothed her. Do not cry, Xiaonuan. You are such a good girl. Your brother is famous now, too. If mean children at school bully you, tell your brother without being afraid. Your brother and I will stand up for you together. As she comforted her, Mu Leao's gaze fell on the coffee table. An old phone lay there, its screen lit up, judging by its model and worn cartoon case. It was likely Mama Su's old backup phone, left at home so she could contact the children. At that moment, the phone screen was open to the parents' group chat. Messages were rapidly flooding in. Following her instincts, Mu Leyao guessed the chat was connected to Xiaonuan's distress. She picked up the phone without hesitation. A pinned announcement stood prominently at the top of the chat. Good evening, parents. To uphold our fine tradition of respecting teachers and valuing education, several members of the parent committee have decided that, with Teachers' Day approaching, we will honor the hard-working teacher Zhang with a warm appreciation dinner, as well as several fine, expensive gifts, to express every parent's gratitude. The cost will be split among all 43 students in the class. That comes to 93 yuan per parent. Please participate and transfer your payment in the reply chain. Please reply to confirm you have received this. Curled up in Mu Leao's warm embrace, Xiaonuan poured out all the emotional abuse she'd endured lately. Sister Leyao, am I really that stupid? My language teacher calls me stupid in front of the whole class every day. She even threatens to have me expelled. Mu Leao's brow instantly furrowed. At Xiaonuan's age, she was clearly still in the lower grades of elementary school. 9 years of compulsory education protected her by law. What gave some lousy elementary school teacher the authority to force a student out simply because of her grades? Could it be because Xiaonuan's mother had not paid to win the teacher's favor, so the child was being singled out at school? Mu Leyao stroked her head and comforted her gently. Xiaonuan is not stupid at all. I think you are the smartest child there is. That awful teacher is definitely trying to scare you. Such a sweet, well-behaved little girl as you. How could the principal ever bear to expel you? At those words, a glimmer returned to Xiaonuan's dim eyes, but self-doubt quickly smothered it again. But teacher Zhang is really mean. Several times this week, she called me out in class and made me stand as punishment. She tore up my workbook in front of everyone and called me hopeless. Last week, she forced me to move to the very back corner. She said a bad student like me only belonged beside the trash can. Mu Leyao was stunned, fury blazing inside her. Have teachers truly fallen this low? Her own miserable childhood had taught her well how devastating a child's home environment could be to their confidence. To maliciously crush a child's self-respect like this. How could trash like that call herself a teacher? But what grudge could she possibly have against a child? It could not simply be because she disliked her, could it? Mu Leyao could not make sense of it. Who could hate such a sweet little girl? Under her patient coaxing, Xiaonuan finally revealed the truth. Every time our language teacher holds a class meeting, she keeps hinting about her after-school tutoring class. She requires us to go there after school and do our homework. But the tutoring fee is just too expensive. I know Mom already works so hard doing odd jobs. I did not want to burden her even more. So I kept my mouth shut and never told Mom about it. At last, Mu Leyao understood. Combined with the group chat pressuring parents to buy gifts, she finally understood that vampire teacher's motive. Looking around the humble but tidy rental apartment, she deeply felt how, these past few years, Su Weilin had struggled to raise her children alone. Xiaonuan clearly understood how poor her family was. She had been robbed of her childhood and forced to grow up too soon. What was even more infuriating was that the teacher had set up an unauthorized, overpriced tutoring class. That alone was a serious violation of school rules. The teacher did not dare openly demand money from parents, so Mama Su naturally knew nothing about it. And so that beast, unworthy of being called a teacher, simply took all her anger out on innocent Xiaonuan. Xiaonuan, do not be afraid. I am here for you. Do you know how amazing your brother is now? He wrote to earth-shaking smash hits. A major company bought them for a fortune, and he made so much money. If that bully of a teacher picks on you at school again, come straight home and tell your brother. Do not suffer in silence. Xiaonuan did not really understand music licensing fees, but her idol's fierce promise made her feel safe. Mu Leyao continued scrolling through the group chat. She found that the homeroom teacher had assigned a ridiculous task. Parents had to help their children record talent show videos. The chat was already flooded with flashy videos. Parents and children were singing and dancing for the camera. Only Xiaonuan had not submitted her assignment. Mu Leyao did not need to think twice to know why. Xiaonuan must have known her mother was exhausted from work, so she hid the assignment rather than trouble her. How about I record a four-hand piano duet with you? Xiaonuan's eyes went wide with disbelief. Can I really record a video with a big star? Mu Leyao smiled and nodded firmly. Out of the corner of her eye, she spotted an upright piano by the wall. For a moment, she was lost in thought. Its polished body gleamed, its black and white keys pristine. It looked completely out of place in the humble rental apartment. Xiaonuan eagerly climbed onto the piano bench. My brother bought this piano as my birthday present. It is beautiful, right? I wipe it down every day. Mu Leyao walked over and sat beside her. It is beautiful. Your brother is so good to you. Xiaonuan chose a piece and set up her phone to record. Mu Leyao placed her hands over the keys and said with a smile, I'll transpose down and accompany you with chords. You play the melody boldly. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Xiaonuan lifted her head confidently. A bright, clear melody echoed through the room. Mu Leao's vision began to blur. In Xiaonuan, she saw the proud girl she had once been. The same slender, fair little fingers. The same soft, pale arms delicate as lotus root. The same bold confidence before the camera. The melody also awakened memories buried deep within her. She remembered the music academy's harsh auditions. She saw the wretched state Mu Chen had been in while fighting for her place. He had knelt on the theater's icy steps amid heavy snowfall, shivering from the cold like a humble beggar. Sister, what is wrong? The simple piece had already ended, but Mu Leyao still sat there, hands suspended over the keys. Only Xiaonuan's call jolted her awake. Sorry, I was distracted for a moment. Xiaonuan, you played wonderfully. You are so talented. Her idol's praise made Xiaonuan's eyes light up again. In that warm moment, Mu Leao's phone began vibrating wildly. She answered the call and had barely said hello when her manager's furious roar came through. For heaven's sake, where the hell have you been? You did not forget today's important shoot, did you? The entire crew is waiting for you to start filming. Mu Leyao froze under the barrage. She glanced at the date on her phone and suddenly remembered. Days of pain and a reverse sleep schedule had made her lose all sense of time. She hurriedly apologized and promised she would be there at once. After hanging up, she paced in panic. Mu Leyao was trapped in an impossible dilemma. She had just asked Xiaonuan about it. Xiaonuan did not know when her brother would be home. If she kept waiting, it might be midnight before he returned. But the production team was in a desperate rush. Just as she was anxiously preparing to say goodbye, she spotted a medicine bottle in the trash beneath the coffee table. Alert at once, she picked up the empty bottle and asked, Xiaonuan, what medicine is this? I was cleaning under my brother's bed just now. I swept up the empty bottle and threw it away. Mu Leyao turned the bottle over to check its label, only to find it had been deliberately torn off completely. Her heart sank, and she immediately took a photo. She connected live with a renowned medical expert. The elderly professor enlarged the photo and examined it closely. The label was removed too cleanly for me to be certain, but judging by the bottle's shape and the remaining color of the packaging, it is likely a potent prescription drug for liver protection. The moment Mu Leyao heard the words liver treatment, her worst fears were confirmed, because Mu Chen's high school medical report clearly stated that malnutrition had caused severe hepatitis. Can you not tell exactly what medicine it is? Bring it closer and smell any residue around the opening. Mu Leyao unscrewed the cap and took a deep breath. An intensely bitter smell rushed up into her head. The bitterness seemed to seep through her nose and into her heart. The scent is too complex. I cannot describe it. All I know is, smelling it makes my throat go bitter. Bring the empty bottle to my laboratory. I can test the trace powder at the bottom with lab equipment and identify exactly what medicine it is. Meanwhile, in the editing room at NetEase Cloud Music's Jiangsheng branch, Mr. Mu Chen, what do you think of this? Does this edit match what you had in mind? The post-production editor showed me several highlight clips from the livestream and asked. I had just opened my mouth to offer feedback when a fierce itch surged from deep in my throat. Then I began coughing uncontrollably. I coughed so violently, it felt as though my lungs would tear apart. The terrifying fit frightened everyone in the room. Water, give me water. I forced out the plea, fumbling frantically through my hoodie pocket. Trembling, I took the warm water from the woman beside me. Then I forced down a handful of cough medicine. Zhang Jingran stood nearby, his brow tightly furrowed. Perhaps it was merely his oversensitive imagination, but from this young man barely in his 20s, he sensed the deathly air of someone near the end. Seeing my face turn purple from coughing, he could plainly tell my body was riddled with damage. Zhang Jingran stared fixedly at the medicine bottle clenched in my hand. though its identifying label had been deliberately destroyed. Anyone could tell it was no ordinary cold medicine. That only made Zhang Jiaxu's doubts grow. Mu Chen had once been the young master of a wealthy Jiangsheng family. It was no exaggeration to say that with the Mu family's immense wealth, they would certainly have a private medical team, regular full-body checkups, and costly nutritional care. So, why was Mu Chen, barely in his 20s, in such devastating physical condition? Mr. Mu Chen, are you really all right? After swallowing the medicine, my violent coughing finally subsided. I slowly raised my head toward the woman who had given me water. Only then did I see the breathtaking young woman before me. She stood over 5'7", with a graceful figure. Her bright, almond-shaped eyes brimmed with genuine concern. Her delicate makeup enhanced features both innocent and stunning. It was clear she was no ordinary backstage worker. At that moment, a middle-aged female manager stepped forward. Mr. Mu Chen, do you follow the singing competition show? Our Yuxuan is your biggest fan. She came straight here after hearing you were at the branch office. Yuxuan would like to pay you handsomely to play a piece in the finale. I had just caught my breath and my mind was still foggy. For a moment, I did not connect the beautiful woman before me with one of the entertainment industry's hottest stars. Zhang Jiaxu frantically gestured to me from the side. Only then did I realize how formidable she was. Her mother was a reigning veteran queen of the music industry, and she herself was an unrivaled young pop queen. Zhang Jiaxu knew I desperately needed money for treatment. He was doing everything he could to hand me this money on a silver platter. He kept signaling for me to hold on to this wealthy patron. Jia Yuxuan's vocal skills were not truly top tier, but with powerful backing, she was undeniably a cash cow. If I simply played piano on stage to add some prestige, the pay would be more than ordinary people could imagine. But no one expected me to refuse outright. The proud middle-aged manager's face turned black. She had not expected that after personally coming to invite me, this newcomer would dare reject her offer. I had flatly turned them away. Feeling utterly humiliated, she burned with rage. The atmosphere froze, painfully awkward. Yet Jia Yuxuan, spoiled and headstrong as she was, did not get angry. She waved the livid manager back. I was indeed too abrupt, coming without an appointment. If we have a chance to work together in the future, I will have my team contact you through the proper channels. I hope we can exchange musical ideas someday. Before she could finish, the metallic sweetness in my throat surged up, and I began coughing violently. This attack was not as gut-wrenching as the last one, but Zhang Jiaxu nearby was scared out of his wits, because on the tissue covering my mouth, he saw several horrifying dark red streaks of blood. Mu Chen had actually coughed up blood in public, combined with my paper-white, bloodless face. It frightened Zhang Jiaxu into pulling out his phone to call emergency services. But I wiped away the blood as if nothing had happened and said, "I'm fine." Then I raised my bloodshot eyes and looked at Jia Yuxuan. "How about this? Instead of playing piano, I will write you a song." The instant I said that, everyone froze. The room went deathly silent. You could hear a pin drop. Zhang Jiaxu's eyes nearly popped out of his head. He never imagined I would cough so hard I was bleeding internally. My first thought would not be getting into an ambulance, but forcing myself to write a song for a celebrity on the spot. That was utterly insane. Was I trying to die? Though the executives recognized my piano talent, pop music and classical piano were two entirely different worlds. He did not believe some inexperienced kid could master another field so effortlessly, even if I knew a little about songwriting and composition. With Yuxuan's mother's powerful connections in Beijing's entertainment circles, what world-class producer could they not hire? Why would she think anything of a song I dashed off? But the slap in the face came like a tornado. Hearing my offer, Jia Yuxuan stopped in her tracks. A surge of delight appeared on her exquisite face. "Mr. Mu Chen, would you really write something tailored just for me?" I nodded weakly and borrowed paper and a pen from an employee nearby, suppressing the knife-like agony tearing through my liver. I feverishly wrote and sketched across the draft paper. Watching beside me, Jia Yuxuan noticed something was wrong. Cold sweat beaded densely across my forehead from the pain. "Mr. Mu Chen, you look awful. If your body truly cannot take it, we can discuss the song another day. It is fine. Just wait quietly for 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, I put down my pen. I handed Jia Yuxuan the draft sheet covered in musical notes. "First, see whether you like the style." Jia Yuxuan took the sheet and froze as if spellbound. Zhang Jiaxu secretly shook his head, certain it had gone badly. But that was only natural. A formulaic song written in 20 minutes while racked by illness. How remarkable could its melody and lyrics possibly be? But Jia Yuxuan stood there, unable to say a word. because the song had completely stunned her. She could not understand it, no matter how hard she tried. How could this young man, in such a short time, write such a polished melody with such masterful arrangement, along with beautiful, soul-piercing lyrics? Suppressing her excitement, she hummed a few lines from the sheet music. The melody in her mind fit the lyrics perfectly. She realized she had made the right bet and uncovered an extraordinary treasure. This was absolutely a high-quality single destined to top the charts. I want to ask once more, will you wait, or will you leave? On that windy day, I tried to hold your hand, but the rain grew so heavy that I could no longer see you. As Yuxuan hummed on, becoming more absorbed, her expression shifted from shock to wild elation. When she reached the chorus's climax, Yuxuan took back her earlier judgment that it was merely a polished, catchy pop tune. This was clearly an epic masterpiece that would sweep every award. Mr. Mu Chen, did you really write this masterpiece for me? Am I truly worthy of buying it? Yuxuan's voice trembled as she asked. This song eclipsed every work she had released since her debut. At the very least, she loved it to her core. I nodded without expression. Of course, pay enough, and it is yours alone. 3 days later, at Jiangshang Sports Center, backstage at the singing competition finale, the floor director urged Yuxuan. Ms. Yuxuan, get ready to go on. The backing track for Tomorrow Unseen has been adjusted perfectly. Would you like to run through your stage positions before going on? Yuxuan shook her head firmly. I'm not singing that overplayed song anymore. Her words hit like a thunderclap. The floor director nearly dropped his walkie-talkie in shock. Tomorrow Unseen was Yuxuan's chart-topping trump card. This was the do-or-die finale, live-streamed across the web. Her nemesis, Mu Leyao, was preparing next door. Everyone naturally assumed Yuxuan would use her ace to battle her rival. Yet the young heiress changed her song 10 minutes before the competition. Ignoring the floor director's meltdown, Yuxuan forced the production team to change the song. I followed Yuxuan into the backstage control room, where I gave the live band relentless, exacting direction on the arrangement. I specified where drums should enter to drive up the energy, and where the chorus needed ethereal vocal harmonies. I gave precise, professional instructions without holding back. My overwhelming expertise left Yuxuan's music veterans stunned. They were thrilled by my masterful adjustments. They perfectly matched the song's melancholy mood. Chief Director Yuan could not contain his curiosity. Did you write this incredible song yourself? I have not had the honor of asking your name, sir. He looked me over as though I were a monster. The longer he looked at my pale, refined face, the more familiar it seemed. Then inspiration struck, and he finally recognized me. Was this not the grassroots piano prodigy trending online? Yuan sucked in a breath, his worldview shattered. This kid did not just play piano with godlike skill. He could write classical piano masterpieces worth a fortune, but could also write pop songs and arrange entire productions. How had a once-in-a-century, all-round genius like him never been heard of in the industry before? Had this kid been hiding his talent and playing the fool all along? My throat was dry and hoarse, and I had no chance to reply. Yuxuan sprang forward to answer, fiercely protective as a mother hen. Mr. Mu Chen wrote this specifically for me. The song's exclusive rights have already been sold to me. No one is taking it from me. I have already paid a deposit. Yuan sighed in bitter regret. After hearing the chorus, he had truly wanted to buy the rights. With no other choice, he practically forced me to add him on WeChat. He repeatedly begged me to consider him first for any new work. We quickly resolved every detail of the accompaniment. Afraid I might change my mind, Yuxuan personally saw me out. Mr. Mu Chen, take care. Tomorrow, let us meet somewhere quiet and discuss the remaining payment. I will drive over to pick you up. Words cannot express my gratitude. I truly love this song. Indifferently, I waved a hand to show that I understood. Then I scanned a shared bike and pedaled away. Yuxuan stared at my retreating figure on that battered bicycle, utterly bewildered. This warm yet comical farewell was witnessed in full by Mu Leyao as she arrived at the stadium. Through the car window, she saw me chatting and laughing with her nemesis. It felt as if someone had viciously squeezed Mu Leao's heart. She had the illusion that an irreplaceable treasure had been stolen from her. A fierce possessiveness made Mu Leyao clench her fists tightly. Before the car had even stopped, she shoved open the door and charged at Yuxuan. You shameless woman. Why are you hanging around Mu Chen? What shameful relationship are you carrying on behind my back? Yuxuan was stunned by the barrage of accusations. Faced with her rival's provocation, how could a pampered heiress like her possibly swallow such an insult? That accusing tone, as if she had caught someone cheating, disgusted her. What Mu Chen and I are to each other is none of your business. You are overstepping. Think the world revolves around you? A sharp pang of bitterness surged up, stinging Mu Leyao's nose. It was like having her most cherished child, the doll, snatched away. And the thief had the nerve to sneer that the doll had never been hers. Mu Leyao lifted her chin and declared her claim. I am his rightful sister. Yuxuan froze for several seconds at those words. Her mind raced through every piece of gossip until she remembered. Mu Leyao had admitted in an interview that she had a useless younger brother. Together with the recent online revelations about my past, it became clear that the wealthy family which had cruelly thrown me out was the Mu family. Once Yuxuan put the pieces together, she was immediately furious over the false accusations I had suffered. Such a gifted, loyal, and devoted person, after living under the same roof as family for over 20 years, had been discarded like trash the moment they turned against him. Are the Mu family out of their minds? Do they have shit for brains? When we spoke on the red carpet about your so-called brother, you said with disgust that mentioning him was a stain on your life. You called him an uncouth nobody who was not fit to be seen in public. You could not wait to cut ties, and never admitted you were his sister. You coldly drove him out of the Mu family home. You even used your connections to cruelly erase his name from the family registry. And now you have the nerve to stand before me and call yourself his sister. Where were you before? Stop pretending to be Mother Teresa. He is free now. He has nothing to do with you. Yuxuan's rapid-fire questions left Mu Leyao speechless. Her arrogance deflated instantly like a punctured balloon. Because every word Yuxuan spoke was true, and every one cut deep. Before, she had been deceived by appearances and blinded by deep prejudice. She had been blind to every sacrifice I made and every kindness I showed. She saw me as an outsider and a burden living under their roof. She never acknowledged me in public. Hardly anyone in the entertainment industry even knew Mu Leyao had a younger brother. Remembering her disgraceful past, Mu Leyao's eyes reddened. Clinging to her pitiful pride, she stubbornly argued back. No matter what, he will always be my brother. I will do everything I can to make it up to him and beg him to come back. Yuxuan saw Mu Leyao on the verge of breaking down in tears. After fighting her for so many years, it was the first time she had seen her eyes turn red. She even found the pathetic woman somewhat pitiable. She could not be bothered to rub more salt into her wounds. The two women fell into a suffocating silence that lasted over 10 seconds. Mu Leyao took a deep breath and regained her composure. As though she had made an unbearably difficult decision, she asked the question that had haunted her, one she had never dared face. Was Mu Chen with you just now to play piano for you? Yuxuan curled her lips into an infuriating smile. Wrong. He wrote a song especially for me. Soon, the singer finale began. Countless media outlets rushed to cover the grand event. Mu Leyao kept her eyes fixed on the stage. The first performer was Yuxuan. Soft lights flickered across the stage. A rich, lilting voice filled the arena. How I wish I could ask you once more. Will you stay, or go far away? The day the wind rose, I tried to take your hand. But then the rain came pouring down. It blurred my sight until I could no longer see you. This scene made the audience below, and the singers backstage, were visibly shaken, especially as the song grew more captivating. When Yuxuan reached its climax, several singers even stood up, staring intently at the stage. When the last notes of her voice slowly faded, the surprise left the entire audience stunned. They rose as one, applauding and cheering. This song is incredible. The lyrics are so beautiful. Yuxuan, I will always support you. The magnificent song and flawless performance sent the audience into a frenzy. Many people even felt the lyrics were far beyond merely outstanding. They were like a beautiful poem. Even the notoriously picky music critics could hardly find fault with the performance. The song was simply too breathtaking. Yuxuan had already captivated the entire audience. Even if she had made a minor mistake midway through, the sheer quality of the song would have carried the performance. They should never have let Yuxuan perform first. After the audience had witnessed such a perfect performance, who would still want to listen to anyone else sing? No one noticed that, in a corner, Mu Leyao's eyes had reddened again. After hearing that soul-stirring song, she became certain that Mr. Zhu was me. Only I could have written a melody like that. Deep inside Mu Leyao, waves of indescribable emotion surged. Every achievement she now had that others envied, all seemed to carry my shadow. She had sung so many songs I had written. Every one of them had dominated the charts. Yet I had remained quietly behind the scenes, leaving all the spotlight to her. At that thought, Mu Leyao broke down. Tears fell like pearls from a broken string. If she had not lost the one who had always stayed by her side, the younger brother who loved her so deeply, than every honor Jia Yuxuan received today. And this song, Sunny Day, would have belonged to her. Brilliant lights shone onto center stage. When Mu Leyao appeared on stage, the applause below never stopped. Some of her most devoted fans even shouted her name from the audience. They had watched her transform from an ugly duckling into the dazzling diva she was today. That was why so many people related to her. Yet they had never wondered why she was so exceptional. They naturally assumed Mu Leyao had reached this point entirely on her own. But on stage, Mu Leyao looked as though her soul had left her body. She remembered all the encouragement I had given her over the years. She remembered what happened during her first talent competition, when she had been ruthlessly eliminated in the first round. I had written a song especially for her, urging her not to give up whenever she felt exhausted. Many audience members sat up straight. They had immense expectations for her, hoping she would outshine Jia Yuxuan. But clearly, they were being too optimistic. The song Mu Leyao performed this time was an old release from several months earlier. Her emotions clearly affected the entire performance. There were a few subtle flaws. Like the other singers, she brought no real surprise. So, even her longtime fans did not, as usual, flood the livestream chat with frantic cries of champion. The staff quickly began counting the votes. 10 minutes later, the chief director personally announced, the final champion is Jia Yuxuan. Her winning song was titled Sunny Day. The moment the director finished speaking, the entire stage became Jia Yuxuan's celebration. She basked in the cheers and applause of the whole audience. Mu Leyao left the venue looking utterly defeated. After all, every honor before her had once belonged to her. Mu Yulu and Mu Xuan had also come to the venue. Sis, it is okay. You were amazing already. No matter what anyone else says, I will always stand firmly by you. Mu Leyao felt a wave of warmth at his words. But just then, a middle-aged man suddenly lunged out from the crowd. His face was twisted with rage as he shouted, I came all this way and bought a ticket to see you. Is that performance really worthy of someone who came all this way to see you? Though he had not yet reached Mu Leyao, security had already pinned him down. But Mu Leyao witnessed something deeply disappointing. The instant the middle-aged man charged out, Mu Xuan instinctively dodged to the side. Mu Leao's expression instantly turned desolate. If it had been me, I never would have dodged. Mu Yulu took Mu Leyao home. Then she took Mu Xuan to buy a car, planning to get him a Rolls Royce. On the way, they happened to run into me. An extremely luxurious sedan pulled up directly in front of me, blocking my way. Mu Yulu and Mu Xuan stepped out of the car. She had decided to make Mu Xuan apologize to me, to settle what happened years ago, so she could finally put her mind at ease. Disgust flashed through Mu Xuan's eyes. He felt speaking to someone like me was beneath him. But to ensure I would never return to the Mu family, he decided to put on a convincing act. Brother Mu Chen, I was wrong to frame you back then. I had reasons I could not help. I was confused for a moment and did something foolish. Brother Mu Chen, as long as you can forgive me, you can hit me or curse me. I will accept it all. And my sisters also hope. Before Mu Xuan could finish his phony speech, I shoved him away hard. He stumbled and nearly fell. His face immediately darkened. His body instinctively curled inward. Mu Yulu immediately shielded Mu Xuan behind her. What exactly are you trying to do? Mu Chen, have I been too lenient with you? The sudden scene left her stunned. How dare an outsider like him lay hands on Mu Xuan so casually? Sis, please do not blame Brother Mu Chen. It is normal for him to be angry. I was wrong. It is all my fault. Mu Xuan forced himself upright, wearing a pitiful expression. That only made Mu Yulu even angrier. Mu Chen, look at the way you are behaving. You shove people at the drop of a hat. I am ashamed of you. Who could ever like someone like you? Apologize to your brother, now. Seeing her lecture me again from her high horse, I looked at her as if she were an idiot. President Mu, it is not as if you ever liked the old me much either. And are you deaf? Mu Xuan himself said I could hit or curse him. Why are you getting so worked up? Mu Yulu was so furious she nearly coughed up blood. Yet she truly could not find a word to refute him. Back when I lived with the Mu family, I obeyed my sisters in everything and never fought back. Still, they seemed to hate me, the outsider. And because of her deep-seated prejudice, she had subjected me to plenty of corporal punishment. I know you feel wronged, but you cannot just hurt people whenever you want. What you did was far too much. I could not be bothered to argue with them, so I rode away. Seeing that I actually dared to ignore her made her even angrier. Stop right there. If you dare leave here today, do not ever expect me to acknowledge you as my brother again. After she finished that furious outburst, I paused briefly on my bicycle ahead. That calmed Mu Leyao down slightly. But what happened next made her dig her nails so hard they nearly pierced her skin. With my back to her, I raised my middle finger. Then I rode away without looking back. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Qinghuan watched the finals video online. The internet was flooded with praise for Yuxuan. Besides praising her flawless stage performance and marveling at the song's quality, there was also a gossiping trending topic. Yuxuan and the piano prodigy seem intimate. The two entered the venue side by side. When he left, Yuxuan even walked him out herself. The post went viral because of the photos attached below it. From the photos' carefully chosen angles, the two looked almost pressed together as they entered. In the second photo, Yuxuan wore a sweet smile as she waved goodbye to me. Looking at Yuxuan's elegant image in the photos, then remembering what I had once told her, all her beautiful fantasies seemed to shatter. Then she saw the official photos. Yuxuan stood quietly on stage. Several spotlights fell perfectly over her. Her glamorous, elegant gown shimmered brilliantly. Below the stage, several instructors and I wore headphones. We watched the rehearsal with complete focus. The photos already had plenty of comments. The most liked comment had just 2 words: perfect match. Someone claiming to be an insider even revealed the entire story of how I won Yuxuan's heart. They wrote an elaborate 1,000-word post. After 20 years honing his craft, a genius composer writes a hit song. Countless singers fought over it, and major platforms begged to collaborate. Yet every single request was rejected. The genius told them all he had written the song for her alone. A song written for her alone. Qinghuan recalled the past. She had managed to get to concert tickets and dragged me along to the concert. That night, the venue was packed with pink glow sticks, turning the entire night sky pink. The singer stood beneath the moonlight, leading everyone in song. She thought it was so cool that she blurted out, "If one day I could be like that singer on stage and hold a concert of my own, that would be wonderful." I looked at her with complete seriousness. "Then you will need your own signature song first. How about this? One day, I will write you an unforgettable hit. Every singer will fight over it, but I will write that song for you alone." She had been curious about my confidence then, but seeing how serious I was, she actually believed me. Blushing, she said she had no talent for singing at all. She said she would practice first, so she would not waste such a wonderful song. But now, everything had changed. I really had written a song for one person alone, but that person was not her. At that thought, Qinghuan felt that indescribable bitterness rise in her heart again. She instinctively opened our chat. Compared to those photos online that filled her with jealousy, nothing hurt more than the fact that I still had not replied. At last, the tightly drawn string in her heart snapped. After removing me from her contacts, she hid beneath her covers and broke down sobbing. The dull, piercing ache in her heart made Qinghuan bitterly regret ever meeting me. Back in middle school, she had received a love letter from a boy in her class. Her mother had earnestly told her then, "If you do not study hard, you will end up back in that tiny town without even a movie theater, a place your favorite singers would never visit." So, Qinghuan had always obeyed her mother. She saw any hint of teenage romance as poison. She tore up the letter right in front of that boy. After that, she deliberately kept her distance from boys, until she met me. In Qinghuan's original plan for her love life, she would remain single until her career was stable. Then, when she reached a suitable age for marriage, with her elders' eager introductions, she would find a partner who could support her, and whom she could support in return. But my appearance made her cautious and self-conscious. It made her care about her appearance. She felt an urge to keep replying to me. For the first time, she knew the anxiety of fearing loss. Even at this very moment, Qinghuan could still feel the beauty of it. It felt like standing amid springtime blossoms, with pink and white petals drifting through the window into her heart. But my sudden coldness and wordless departure had turned that beauty into poison in an instant. Why was this happening? Qinghuan's tears began falling uncontrollably again. A flicker of hatred even rose in her heart. Why give me something so beautiful, only to destroy it so cruelly with your own hands? The next day, Yuxuan and I met at a coffee shop to discuss the price for the rights to Sunny Day. "Mr. Mu Chen, though I do want to buy out the rights entirely, you must know perfectly well that you would earn far less under this agreement. If you wait just 2 or 3 years, the song's long-term earnings could far exceed the buyout fee." Yuxuan hoped we could keep working together. So before signing the contract, she honestly laid out every advantage and drawback. I shook my head gently. 2 years or 3, either is far too long for me. I simply cannot wait that long. My words left Yuxuan stunned. He cannot wait. As far as she knew, even if I had been thrown out by the Mu family, had I not just sold to piano pieces, I had already made over for $1,000,000 yuan. Why could I not wait 2 or 3 years? Was I really that desperate for money? All right, it is settled. Let us sign the contract. Just then, I caught sight of the person I most wanted, yet feared to see. When I saw Qinghuan's pale face, my heart suddenly felt pierced by a needle. She then spoke with the coffee shop owner for a while, and actually put on an intern's apron. I could no longer suppress the powerful urge inside me. I had never seen her take a job to earn money before. I immediately walked over and softly asked, "Have you run into some difficulty you cannot get through? I can lend you money if you need it urgently." I knew she was deeply proud, so I quickly changed my tone. When Qinghuan heard that familiar voice, her delicate body stiffened almost imperceptibly. Then she caught sight of Yuxuan nearby. It was as if she could see us laughing together and flirting. The emotions she had repressed for days finally erupted. "Stay away from me. I do not need you meddling in my business." She sent me crashing hard to the floor. Yuxuan hurried over and quickly helped me up. Fine beads of sweat had formed on my forehead. Even standing steadily took effort, yet I forced myself to keep insisting I was fine. I just lost my footing and fell. When Qinghuan saw me fall so hard, her own body seemed to ache faintly. After she accompanied me to the hospital to treat my wounds, she promised that next time, she would protect me at any cost. Yet now, she had pushed me to the ground herself. Qinghuan instinctively wanted to come check on me, but Yuxuan had already done so first. Eyes reddening, Qinghuan shoved open the door and ran out of the coffee shop. After we sat back down, Yuxuan could not help asking, "Mr. Mu Chen, are you really all right? Is there some misunderstanding between you two?" By then, she had guessed that Qinghuan and I were a couple. Couples arguing now and then was perfectly normal. I waved my hand and was about to speak, but my throat suddenly tickled, and I could not stop a dry cough. This time, Yuxuan clearly saw the bloodstains on the tissue. "Mr. Mu Chen, let us get you to a hospital right away." I had wanted to brush it off with some excuse, but then I broke into violent coughs. This time, the blood I coughed up stained the entire tissue red. Seeing that, Yuxuan no longer cared to ask for my permission. She immediately took out her phone to call an ambulance. Not wanting her efforts to be wasted, I told her the truth. The doctor diagnosed me with a terminal illness. He told me to eat and drink well, and spend my remaining year doing what I wanted, so I would have no regrets when I was gone. After hearing those heavy words, Yuxuan froze with her phone hanging in midair. Then she understood everything at once. That was why I had said I could not wait 2 or 3 years. Thinking of all I had suffered before, I had not only been cruelly thrown out of the home, where I had lived for over 20 years, but had also been dealt such a cruel fate. She was about to offer words of comfort, however useless, when something suddenly occurred to her. Was that girl angry earlier because of me? If so, you should hurry and explain it to her. I shook my head weakly. It is all my fault. I hurt her. After learning I had a terminal illness, I was the one who asked to break up. Yuxuan fell into a long silence. She understood my intentions, but she did not entirely agree. I had less than a year left to live, so I chose to leave her rather than waste her best years. Any reasonable person would understand such a helpless choice, but after carefully watching that girl's reaction, it was obvious she knew nothing about my terminal illness. So I had deliberately kept my condition from her. Yuxuan could not understand why I had hidden it. Why did you have to keep it from her? When I first began getting to know her, I could sense an unspoken wariness in her. Later, as we gradually grew closer, she confided in me about old memories buried deep in her heart. Because of upheaval in her family, she had once hurt herself. And once, when I was injured and lying in the hospital, she gripped me tightly and said that if I died, she would not go on living in this world either. Though I knew I could not take those words completely seriously, I still had a truly ominous feeling. This coffee shop is not one of your businesses, is it? I hope you can look after her discreetly for me, and find out why she suddenly came here to work part-time. Also, please keep my illness absolutely secret. That is why I chose to tell you everything. Yuxuan solemnly agreed. Our troubled story broke her heart. But from another perspective, she suddenly found herself envying our love. Perhaps because she had entered the entertainment industry at a young age. She had always scoffed at so-called true love. Yuxuan drove me back to my place herself. There, we happened to run into Mu Leyao, who had just arrived. Yuxuan, what are you doing here? Then she suddenly noticed the bloodstains on my collar. How did you get blood on your neck? Are you all right? She reached to pull back my collar for a closer look, but I instinctively stepped far back. Have I not made myself clear enough to all of you? Why do you keep coming here every few days to put on an act? Mu Leyao's eyes reddened with hurt. How can you speak to your sister in that tone? I really am worried about your health. Then I really should thank you so very much. What good is concern that comes this late? I fainted so many times at home, and no one cared. Yet I still fought on and survived until now. Did I not? Hearing those barbed words, Mu Leyao felt a sharp stab of pain in her heart. It was true. She had never truly cared about me before. That I had secretly undergone so many medical checkups was something she had only just learned. Let me take you for a full checkup now, all right? Even Yuxuan, standing nearby, could not bear to watch. From their brief, icy exchange, she could tell that I may have lived like a servant in the Mu household all these years, perhaps with even less standing than one. After all, even if a household servant suddenly fainted, those wealthy young ladies would at least offer a few words of concern. Yet they had never cared about my health before. If they had taken me for a full checkup a few years earlier, my illness might not have worsened to this point. Perhaps I could have been like countless ordinary people, with a healthy, complete life ahead of me. But now, it was far too late to change anything. My life had only one final year left on the clock. Only now did those young ladies remember to care about me. What practical use was any of it now? In the past, hearing such concern might have made me happy under my covers for a long time. But now, everything was too late. I forcefully shook Mu Leyao's hand away. Stay away from me. How can you be so cold to your sister? I am begging you. Come to the hospital with me for an examination. But before she could finish, I suddenly collapsed without warning. The sudden turn of events left Mu Leyao panicking. She stood frozen, having no idea what to do. What are you standing there for? Help him into the car and get him to the hospital now. Yuxuan was genuinely furious on my behalf. Such a good person, and he had somehow ended up with such cold-hearted sisters. On the way to the hospital, Mu Leyao's thoughts had become a complete mess. Whenever she faced a sudden crisis like this, the first person she instinctively relied on was her eldest sister. Mu Leyao fumbled for her phone. She quickly dialed Mu Yulu's number. Mu Yulu spoke first from the other end of the call. I was just about to call you. Where have you run off to? Come back quickly. Your brother says he needs you for something. Mu Leyao's voice was thick with tears. I came to find Mu Chen. Why did you go all that way to find that ungrateful bastard? I have told you 1,000 times. Do not ever go looking for that ungrateful bastard. Do you know he viciously kicked your brother yesterday? Stay away from someone with violent tendencies. He is dangerous. As she spoke, Mu Yulu's tone gradually softened. Leyao, are you crying? Come back and tell me all about it. I will stand up for you. Mu Chen was fine one moment, then suddenly passed out. He is burning up with fever. Sis, I am rushing him to the hospital now. If they find some serious illness, Mu Leyao was truly terrified now. She feared she might not even have a chance to make amends. Mu Yulu fell noticeably silent after hearing that. Her tone softened a little more. Leyao, do not overthink it. What could be wrong with someone so young? He probably skipped meals and had a low blood sugar spell. At worst, his hepatitis has gotten a little worse. A few days in the hospital with intravenous fluids, and he will be fine. And even in the worst case scenario, if they do find something, what does it have to do with the Mu family? Do not sit there alone, imagining things. When the car reached the hospital, Mu Leyao hung up. The doctor who had examined me came out. You are this patient's family, correct? Once he wakes up, take him straight home to rest. A surge of overwhelming relief flashed through Mu Leyao's heart. Doctor, does my brother not have anything seriously wrong? The elderly professor found this family member rather strange. Has your brother never told you about his condition? He came here for a follow-up examination just last week. I carefully reviewed his latest test results. There is no need for further hospitalization or unnecessary test. Take him home and make sure he stays happy every day. Perhaps it can slow the progression of his illness a little. Throughout the professor's explanation, Mu Leyao felt as if someone were choking the air from her lungs. Her body went limp, and she collapsed helplessly onto the hospital bed. This was already the most authoritative hospital in the country. Even this place had declared him beyond treatment. In this vast world, where else could they possibly seek help? All Mu Leyao felt now was profound despair. Then she suddenly remembered something her eldest sister had casually mentioned over dinner. That day, eldest sister called to tell me the so-called truth about my background. She coldly ordered me to pack up and leave the Mu family at once. I had just left the hospital with my terminal diagnosis in hand. The timeline fit together perfectly. That meant I had just been struck by the devastating news of my terminal illness, when that call expelling me from the family delivered another crushing blow. As Mu Leyao pictured that scene, she felt that the three sisters had been cruel beyond words. At the darkest, most helpless and hopeless moment of my life, they had joined forces to heartlessly drive me from that home, and I had merely gritted my teeth and silently endured it all. The moment Mu Leyao thought of those details, she could no longer hold back and broke down sobbing in the hospital room. She was truly consumed by regret. She regretted that eldest sister had only needed to persuade her a few times that day, for her to carelessly cast her vote in favor. She hated herself for not seeing my worth sooner, for not caring sooner about the brother who had given so much in silence. If she had noticed those details sooner, she would have done everything possible to find the best doctors for me. She would have found the courage to stand up to her domineering eldest sister, and fought no matter what to keep me in the Mu family. She would have kept me firmly by her side and cared for me. But Mu Leyao had once naively believed that if she shamelessly came to see me a few more times, I would easily forgive her and return to the Mu family. Then we could go back to the way things used to be, to those beautiful days practicing piano together beneath the setting sun. But the cruel reality stood before her. Her overwhelming grief blurred everything before her eyes. Her thoughts became utterly chaotic. Memories flickered through her mind like scenes on a film reel. Mu Leyao remembered clutching my hand tightly as we gazed at the stars together in the summer night breeze. She remembered how I had thrown myself in harm's way to shield her. She remembered why she had achieved such dazzling success today. Was because I had willingly stayed hidden in the shadows, burying all the glory and applause in the darkness, and giving her every chance to shine. One breathtaking song after another went viral online. As she had dreamed, she took the stage at the biggest music awards ceremony. After her speech, countless reporters competed to interview her. One gossip outlet bluntly asked, what had given her the strength to come this far? Who did she most want to thank from the bottom of her heart? She graciously thanked many people before the cameras. She had even spotted me among the crowd below the stage. When she saw my plain, shabby clothes, she felt ashamed to have a brother like me. So she did not mention me once in her speech. But the sharp-eyed reporter noticed and asked, there are rumors that you have a brother you grew up with. They say he quietly practiced piano with you from a very young age. At this shining moment, do you have nothing to say to him? But at the time, Mu Leyao had always believed her glorious success had nothing to do with me. So she simply replied coldly, no. Yet I showed no displeasure from beneath the stage. Instead, I smiled happily for her amid the crowd, because my sister had received praise from so many people. Mu Chen, this time, let your sister risk her life to protect you for the rest of yours. Her voice had gone hoarse from crying. She saw Mu Yulu's missed call and called her back. Before Mu Yulu could ask anything, Mu Leyao spoke first, her voice resolute. I regret it completely. I am bringing him back home, no matter what. Mu Yulu flew into a rage at those words. Leyao, what nonsense are you talking about? Did I not make it perfectly clear before? Your biological brother was viciously kicked by him just yesterday. How do you think Xuan will feel if you bring him back now? Mu Leyao immediately shouted back. Is he not also the brother I watched grow up? If I have to choose between the two of them, I will choose Mu Chen without hesitation. Did Xuan not bring that kick upon himself? If he cannot accept that, then he can pack his things and leave. Mu Yulu was beside herself with rage. Have you lost your mind? What insane nonsense are you saying? Everyone in high society already knows that our biological brother has been found. Are you crazy? You want to drive him out now? What will people say about the Mu family? But Mu Leao's broken, despairing voice came through the phone. He has a terminal illness that cannot be cured. The doctor says he has only 1 year left to live. On the very day he was diagnosed and fell into despair, we heartless ingrates joined forces to drive him out. After hearing those shocking words, Mu Yulu fell into dead silence. Just when Mu Leyao naively believed her eldest sister would let me return to the Mu family out of guilt, Mu Yulu instead said something so cold-blooded that Leyao never saw it coming. Transfer some more money into his account. Consider it financial compensation from the Mu family. No one wants something like illness to happen, and his illness has nothing whatsoever to do with the Mu family. Now that things have come to this, bringing him back into the Mu family, do you really think that is a rational, sensible choice right now? In truth, Mu Yulu had calculated it all clearly. If she softened and let me move back in, That troublemaker Mu Xuan would certainly raise hell. The whole household would be in chaos again. Thinking that, Mu Yulu slightly calmed her irritation. Leyao, I am begging you. Stop being so willful. Mu Xuan has suffered outside for so many years. Do not do anything else to break your biological brother's heart. During that phone call, Mu Xuan had been nearby, eavesdropping the whole time. When he heard Mu Leyao wanted to throw him out for my sake, his face turned livid with rage, and his whole body trembled. But when he heard the rest of the call, and learned I had only one short year left to live, he could barely suppress the vicious curl of his lips. Ecstatic inside, he cursed me again and again. You deserve it. The only thing that spoiled Mu Xuan's satisfaction was this. Why that eyesore had not died immediately? Why would heaven give him another year? Mu Leyao could not bear to listen to such cold-blooded words. Sis, I completely disagree with your selfish views. With that, she forcefully ended the call. Meanwhile, in the hospital room, I hazily regained consciousness and made a slight sound. Mu Leyao immediately noticed, her eyes reddening. Mu Chen, you are finally awake. Did my phone call disturb your rest? It is all your sister's fault. Once I was fully awake, I only coldly said one thing to her. Yes, now get the hell out. At those words, Mu Leyao's breathing became rapid. Please do not speak so heartlessly to your sister. But before she could finish pleading, I cut her off. Who are you crying for, acting so pitiful? Mu Leyao's tears instantly burst forth like a flood. You are weak. Do not move around. Your sister will leave right away. Only after watching her leave the room did I finally feel some peace. Judging by how she lost control in the room just now, she had probably learned everything about my terminal illness. But it no longer mattered to me. I truly wanted nothing more to do with the Mu family. Mu Leyao left the hospital and got into her car, but did not start it. She simply sat there in a daze. Outside, fierce winds whipped sheets of rain, and raindrops covered the windshield. The sound of the rain deepened her sorrow. She began to miss those rainy days, when I spent entire days practicing piano with her. As long as she listened to me play, she never felt lonely or cold. But now, that piano music was drifting ever farther away. Tears falling, Mu Leyao took out her phone. She searched my name online. The moment she typed it in, she saw a prominent headline. Zhao Manqi speaks out, Mu Chen is a pervert. Mu Leyao immediately opened it. It was just as she had expected. It was Zhao Manqi, the woman who had framed me years ago. For some unknown reason, she had dug up the long, fabricated post she wrote back then, revised it, and posted it online again. She even claimed she had been threatened into apologizing last time. She said she had come to her senses and would no longer suffer in silence. She had even pinned a comment. If I choose to stand by today, then when disaster strikes me someday, no one will be left to stand up for me. Though this had happened a year ago, I was trending online at the time. So, Zhao Manqi's post drew plenty of attention. Naturally, comments were divided. After all, bystanders are quick to sympathize with the weak. Even though Zhao Manqi offered no proof, many people still condemned and attacked me. Mu Leyao clenched her fist at the sight. The last time I faced something like this, she had neither intervened nor cared. I was left to suffer so much injustice. This time, even if she only wanted to atone, just to ease her conscience a little, she had to see this through to the end. With that thought, she called Lu Jingming. Attorney Lu, I need to ask you for a favor. The woman who slandered me before is at it again. I have already sent you the link. Lu Jingming glanced at it on the other end of the call. I will contact her now and have her take the post down. But Mu Leyao hurriedly stopped him. No, Attorney Lu. We already gave her one chance. Now I want to put her behind bars. I am leaving this matter to you. Do you really want to do this? Does your eldest sister know about this? Mu Leyao did not hesitate at all. She knows nothing about it. If she asks, tell her I was the one who ordered it. Lu Jingming fell silent. Had these sisters had a falling out? But since Mu Leyao had said so, he no longer had any reservations. This should not be a problem. I collected plenty of evidence against her before. At the time, your sister did not want to make a big deal of it. She wanted to settle it privately, so we did not use it. This time, we can probably use all of it. Hearing this, Mu Leyao suddenly remembered that Mu Xuan had told Zhao Manqi to do this back then. If Zhao Manqi was taken to court, would Mu Xuan be implicated too? But she quickly dismissed the thought. Why should she care about him? He was the one who framed me like this. He brought this entirely upon himself. Elsewhere, Zhao Manqi looked immensely pleased with herself. She lounged comfortably against the sofa. She had originally forgotten all about it. But over the past few days, she saw online that I, the the man she framed years ago, had suddenly become popular. So she began to entertain a crooked scheme. She wanted to use this to threaten money out of me. Zhao Mengke calculated to herself. Rich people do not care about such a small sum. The matter had caused such a huge uproar back then. Yet it was settled with nothing more than an apology. The reward far outweighed the risk. But I was no longer as timid and compliant as before. I replied with one word. Get lost. The more Zhao Mengke thought about it, the angrier she became. She dug up that fabricated post from before, edited it, and posted it online that day. Zhao Mengke figured it would not be long before I contacted her myself and asked her to delete the post. After all, who does not care about their reputation? Especially someone like me, with so many followers online. Then she turned on the television and waited. Half an hour later, the doorbell suddenly rang. Thinking it was a delivery, Zhao Mengke went to open the door. To her surprise, two police officers stood outside. You are Zhao Mengke, correct? Zhao Mengke froze for a moment, then nodded. Here is the situation. You made a post online this morning, correct? Someone has provided evidence that you spread false rumors. Come with us to the station for questioning. Zhao Mengke stood there completely stunned. Is it illegal to make a post online? If a post fabricates facts and damages someone else's reputation, once its views exceed the legal threshold, it may be illegal. Cold sweat poured down Zhao Mengke's face. She hurriedly pulled out her phone. She saw that the post's popularity had multiplied several times in just half an hour. Her legs went weak with fear, and she collapsed onto the floor. Half an hour later, at the police station, Lu Jingmin saw Zhao Mengke walk in. Smiling broadly, he rose to his feet. We meet again. Seeing someone she knew, Zhao Mengke stopped resisting. The post did contain some exaggerations. Attorney Lu, can I do what I did last time? I will delete the post and apologize. Is that enough? Lu Jingmin gave a quiet laugh. Zhao Mengke's heart immediately sank. Since you admit it was slander, then let me be honest with you. The post has already received over 1 million views. This time, I will sue you directly. Only then did Zhao Mengke realize how serious this was. She quietly asked the officer beside her, what happens if the slander is serious? The officer's answer made her break down on the spot. If she could not obtain the other party's forgiveness, she would very likely face a prison sentence. Then why did you not tell me sooner? I posted it at 9 this morning. Why did he wait until now to come after me? He must have seen the post long ago. He deliberately waited for it to gain traction before coming after me. Is that not deliberately setting me up? The person you should arrest is him. Lu Jingmin offered no explanation. After all, the law was clear. Your confidence is only as strong as your evidence. No amount of smooth talking would help her. Besides, he genuinely felt a little wronged when he received Mu Leyao's call. By the time he saw that post, it was already attracting enormous attention. Of course, if his client wanted her sent to prison, he would certainly make it happen. The officer beside them immediately reminded her. There is no use saying this now. Cases like this are generally pursued only if the victim files a complaint. As long as you obtain the other party's forgiveness and get them to withdraw the complaint, you will be fine. Those words gave Zhao Mengke a flicker of hope. She was about to offer a verbal apology, but quickly realized that would not work. After all, they had ignored her apology the first time. After thinking for a moment, she called her father. Afraid of being scolded, she downplayed the whole situation as she explained it. 10 minutes later, her parents arrived in a fury. They shoved open the door and stormed in. Because Zhao Mengke had downplayed the facts, her parents thought Lu Jingmin had threatened their daughter. Their anger reached its breaking point. Then, when Lu Jingmin finally said that his client would never agree to his settlement, the middle-aged couple thought their daughter was finished. They angrily rushed at him and grabbed him. The scene instantly descended into chaos. The two officers in the room could not hold them back. Other officers on duty heard the commotion. Only when they rushed over was the situation brought under control. Lu Jingmin, who had suffered a few injuries, was dumbfounded as the officers helped him up. He silently thought to himself, they really are blood relatives. Meanwhile, after consulting my attending physician, I got more medication. They could help prevent sudden blackouts like this. The medication was not covered by insurance and cost 20,000 yuan a bottle. After prescribing those expensive drugs, Zhang Jingran explained why he had not prescribed them last time. They would not slow the progression of the illness. These drugs could bankrupt an ordinary family. That was why he did not recommend them outright. So I asked another question. What options were there if money was no object? Zhang Jingran actually offered a plan. Injections costing several million yuan each. hire the most cutting-edge cell therapy team, and have them create a personalized treatment plan. The daily cost would run roughly 1,000,000 yuan, and the chance of success was tiny. Or rather, it could only give desperate tycoons one last shred of comfort. Finally, Zhang Jingran softly comforted me. Experience the world, live well. After thanking him, I left the hospital. Rain pattered behind me as I stepped through puddles in the uneven road. Suddenly, I felt so very tired. The taut string in my mind seemed to snap, and exhaustion flooded over me. I had thought I had made peace with life and death, but now I realized I had let go of nothing. My little sister would play hopscotch in front of me. She would nestle into my arms, sweetly calling me big brother. My mother would cry whenever she saw how frail I was. I had finally found a real home. I had felt the family love I had yearned for countless times. I had met the girl I loved to my very core. Yet now, all of it could collapse at any moment. Mom, I do not want to die like this. Helplessly, I crouched on the ground and broke down sobbing. The despair buried deepest in my heart could no longer be contained as it spread through me. After crying, I picked up my umbrella and stood. Then I continued toward home. At the intersection, traffic officers were still directing the cars. No matter how inconsolably someone wept, the city remained as bustling as ever. Meanwhile, at the Mu family estate, Xuan merely said he wanted something different to eat, and Butler Liu's planned menu was thrown into disarray. He immediately instructed the kitchen chefs to redesign the menu and replace the ingredients. He then contacted the household staff members, following Xuan's demands, to change the Chinese-style setting to a Western one. Everyone worked busily for hours. They finally served the meal in time for dinner. Looking at the exquisitely prepared beef before him, Xuan nodded in satisfaction. More than the costly, refined ingredients, he enjoyed the feeling of ordering people around. He opened the champagne and poured himself a glass. Sis, here's to you. Xuan raised his glass and smiled at Mu Leyao across the table, but his raised hand trembled slightly. Mu Leyao acted as if she had heard nothing. Absent-mindedly, she ate her steak. Mu Yulu gave a light cough beside them. Leyao, your brother is speaking to you. Only then did Mu Leyao slowly speak. Other than having that girl frame me, have you done anything else to hurt me? Xuan's face immediately stiffened. Then his voice turned slightly nasal. Sis, why would you say that about me? I really was wrong before, but that was truly the only mistake I made. If you do not believe me, I can go to the police station and prove my innocence. Mu Leyao gave a cold laugh. Then call the police right now. Mu Yulu slammed her hand on the table. Enough. Stop this nonsense. You even want the police to investigate? Do you not care about the Mu family's reputation at all? The Mu family's third sister forcing her biological younger brother to call the police and prove his innocence? If word gets out, people will mock us for years. Mu Leyao found that almost laughable. Was I not her brother too? Hadn't Big Sister forced me to prove my innocence back then? The Mu family's reputation was what Big Sister cared about most. How could she possibly, under these circumstances, let the police investigate the Mu family? Xuan must have counted on that, which was why he could make such shameless claims. Seeing Mu Leyao fall silent, with Big Sister taking his side as well, Xuan instantly grew bolder. Sister Leyao, I know you do not like me, but I truly hope you can get along with Big Sister. Please stop fighting because of me. As long as you and Big Sister can live in harmony, I can move out right now. As he spoke, Xuan nearly moved himself to tears. His eyes even reddened slightly. This made Mu Yulu feel even more strongly that Mu Leyao was being far too willful. I know you feel guilty about Mu Chen's illness, but none of us wanted this to happen, and it has nothing to do with us. Let me say something harsh today. Making Mu Chen leave the Mu family back then, was that not a decision we made together? When Mu Leyao heard that, her heart hurt as though pierced by needles. Yes, she thought silently. Why had she been so weak back then? Why could she not stand by what she believed? Why had she become an accomplice in driving me away? Mu Yulu continued trying to persuade her. Let it go, Leyao. Look at things now. How wonderful it is for the family to sit down for a meal together. Why bring up someone who is left and make everyone unhappy? A bitter smile crossed Mu Leao's face. Let it go. How could she possibly let it go? I gave her my whole life. Once again, she refused to obey Big Sister. I will bring Mu Chen back. I will bring him home again. If Xuan has done anything else to hurt him, I will uncover the whole truth. Just then, a household staff member approached Xuan and whispered a few words to him. Xuan's expression changed drastically. He suddenly flung out his arm. All the tableware before him was swept to the floor. Wine splashed everywhere. Butler Liu, standing nearby, let out a heavy sigh. It looked like there would be plenty more work ahead. This startled Mu Yulu as well. Mu Xuan, what is wrong with you? Bloodshot veins filled Mu Xuan's eyes. Pointing at Mu Leyao, he shouted, why did you have Lawyer Lu go after her? Why did you have Lawyer Lu sue her? If Zhao Manqi reveals that I ordered her to do it, what will we do then? Can you use your brain for once? Mu Leyao had always known Mu Xuan was putting on an act. Seeing his true colors, she gave a faint laugh instead. What do you mean? What will we do? We will handle it according to the law. If you really are implicated, would that not be your own doing? When you did this back then, did you think it through at all? Seeing the two suddenly arguing, Mu Yulu felt completely bewildered. After listening for a while, she vaguely guessed what had happened. She then called over the staff member from earlier, just as she had suspected. It was about Zhao Manqi framing me back then. But she had to stand by Mu Xuan, because Mu Xuan was her biological brother. Before their parents died, they had entrusted her with one thing. She could not let the Mu family decline in their generation. She had to protect the Mu family's wealth and reputation. Mu Yulu had carried those words in her heart for years, to preserve the Mu family's prosperity. She had done many things against her conscience. Those acts kept snowballing, and the more she did, the heavier her heart became. Yet she had no choice but to continue. That was why, so deeply concerned with the Mu family's rise and fall, after her biological brother Mu Xuan disappeared, she adopted a stand-in heir for the Mu family. But because I did not carry the Mu family's blood, no matter what I did, Mu Yulu could never overcome her prejudice against me, nor could she erase the deep-seated disgust she felt for me. That was why I had lived like a servant in the Mu household for more than a decade. The affection she had shown me before could not truly be called familial love. It was more like keeping a pet than growing attached after more than a decade together. So between Mu Xuan and me, there was no comparison in Mu Yulu's heart, for the Mu family's reputation, and for its future. Of course, she would always stand by Mu Xuan. Meanwhile, in the dining room, Mu Xuan's face had reddened from Mu Leao's rebuke. The thought of being implicated and facing prison, and of Mu Leyao berating him for my sake, after I had been driven out, made Mu Xuan's fury quickly turn to hatred. But he did not dare point at her and curse. He feared it would upset Mu Yulu. So Mu Xuan began smashing things around him. He kept venting the rage in his heart. Butler Liu watched from the side, his face full of deep worry. There should still be scented candles in storage. That expensive coffee machine, that old model will be difficult to replace. A handmade satin tablecloth would take 2 days to make. That expensive porcelain vase. Wait, just as Butler Liu was about to warn him, Mu Xuan had already lifted it high. The porcelain vase displayed prominently in the dining room was then hurled down with brutal force. With a bang, shards scattered across the floor. Butler Liu inwardly sighed. This was bad. As he hesitated over whether to intervene, Mu Leyao had already rushed over and slapped him. Only when a burning pain flared across his cheek did Mu Xuan realize he had been hit. Then he saw that she seemed ready to strike him again. He shrank back, clutched his cheek, and played the victim. Mu Yulu immediately stepped forward and shoved Mu Leyao away, shielding Mu Xuan tightly behind her. Apologize to your brother. From that shove, Mu Leyao staggered 2 steps backward. Whether it was the vase being mercilessly smashed, or big sister actually shoving her, Mu Leyao felt unbearably wronged. Her emotions shattered, and she burst into tears. That was a gift Mr. Zhe gave me. Sis, do not stop me. But Mu Yulu had no intention of moving aside. Leyao, how much longer are you going to keep this up? Do you really think your brother did it on purpose? Tomorrow, I will have Butler Liu buy you 10 more. Now apologize to brother immediately. I am absolutely not joking. Seeing this, Mu Xuan quickly squeezed out to tears. Leyao, I am truly sorry. I did not know that vase meant so much to you. Big sister, this is all my fault. Leyao was right to hit me. Mu Yulu looked painfully at Mu Xuan's reddened cheek. She stepped forward, grabbed Mu Leao's wrist, and yanked it hard. He is your biological brother. Mu Leyao had no time to react. Her body instinctively leaned backward, and she lost her balance, falling onto the floor. When Mu Yulu saw this, a flicker of panic crossed her face. Leyao, I really did not mean to do it. Get up, quickly. Please, get up. But Mu Leyao slapped away her outstretched hand. Either he leaves, or I do. As she looked at Mu Xuan, her eyes held nothing but disgust. That was the only gift Mr. Zhu, meaning me, had ever given her. It might even have been the last. At that thought, Mu Leyao broke down and sobbed again. Every birthday before this, she had received gifts I carefully prepared, but she had never thought anything of them. After hearing that, Mu Yulu felt close to breaking down herself, tears welling in her eyes. Leyao, why would you say something like that? He is your brother. You are his biological sister. Mu Xuan, who had also fallen to the floor, could no longer hide the venom in his eyes. He hated that I was shamelessly clinging to life for another year. Why could I not just die now? He hated Mu Leyao for siding with an outsider, to take away the life he had struggled so hard to gain. Mu Xuan hated them so much his teeth began to tremble. At that moment, he wanted both of them dead. Leyao, stop throwing a tantrum. I will not force you to apologize anymore. Can we not just live peacefully as a family? Why does it always turn out like this? Do not fight over Mu Chen anymore. No matter what, our Mu family raised him. We raised Mu Chen for a full 20 years. Have we really wronged him? Mu Yulu clutched her forehead, overwhelmed by a pounding headache. Just then, Mu Xuan added fuel to the fire. Big sister, it is all my fault. Every mistake is mine. Leyao has every right to be angry. Since Leyao dislikes me this much, I will leave this family right now. I will go to the police station now and answer for what I did back then. Mu Leyao immediately took out her phone. Go on pretending. Do not stop on my account. I will have lawyer Lu come draft a few contracts first. Then transfer your household registration out of the Mu family. Then I will go to the station with you. Let me see exactly how you plan to atone. Mu Yulu saw how hostile things had become between them. It had reached the point where only one of them could remain in this home. She broke down, tears filling her eyes. Leyao, why are you taking this so far? Do you not care about the Mu family's reputation at all? Mu Leyao, equally distraught, spoke up. Sis, then just throw me out, just like you threw Mu Chen out before. Meanwhile, I got on a bus. I found a window and sat down, then stared blankly at the sky outside. After hearing what my attending physician, Zhang Jingran, had to say, I had one more reason to make money. Though that treatment plan offered only a faint hope, having more money on hand was still a way forward. The 2 piano pieces I sold earlier earned for $1 million. I sold the songs to Yuxuan for another $3 million. That should be enough to improve our living conditions. And last night, I learned that my sister's homeroom teacher, Wu Shai, had been targeting her at every turn. So I plan to discuss it with Mom in the next few days and transfer my sister to a better elementary school. As for that teacher who took gifts and ran private tutoring classes, once my sister transferred successfully, I would hire a lawyer to give that teacher a surprise. After all that, those millions would probably be nearly gone. So I messaged Yuxuan again. Are you free? I would like to treat you to dinner. I wrote a few songs while I was in the hospital. I can show them to you and see if they suit you. Yuxuan quickly replied with several question marks. Then she repeatedly asked to make sure that I was not joking with her. Once I gave her a definite answer, Yuxuan readily agreed. After turning off my phone screen, a crushing fatigue washed over me. Zhang Jingran had also told me that it was a normal reaction to the new medication. A short nap would take care of it, so I rested in a drowsy haze. After the bus passed several stops, more passengers gradually got on. Just as I fell asleep, a shrill voice woke me. Young man, this is priority seating for the elderly, disabled, sick, and pregnant. After looking around, a middle-aged woman apparently decided that as a young man I would be easiest to persuade. So she came straight over to me. After riding buses for so many years, I had encountered plenty of people like her. I had even met people far more unreasonable. They would claim that refusing to give up your seat made you immoral. If she had truly been elderly, that would have been one thing. But they all looked barely over 40. Were they really that old and frail? When she saw that I seemed to be ignoring her, the middle-aged woman immediately became agitated. Young man, I am talking to you. Are you elderly, frail, sick, or disabled? I have my senior citizen card right here. This seat belongs to me. I took out the report I had just printed at the hospital and handed it to the woman. I have end-stage liver cancer. I only just left the hospital after passing out. The woman instinctively accepted the report, but after hearing those words, it felt as though a sledgehammer had struck her chest. A surge of guilt rose in her heart. Quite a few people nearby heard what I said. Scornful looks fell on the middle-aged woman, but she could not bring herself to lose face. Instead of apologizing, she stood aside without another word. When the bus reached my stop, I got off. Through the bus window, the middle-aged woman saw me walking away, coughing weakly. She suddenly wanted to slap herself. I really am awful. I arrived at a lively street food stall. I ordered plenty of delicious food and sat down to wait for Jia Yuxuan. 20 minutes later, Jia Yuxuan's car pulled up by the roadside. A multi-million-dollar luxury sports car, along with the woman who stepped out of it. A beauty whose elegance could not be concealed even by sunglasses, instantly drew the attention of many passers-by. Jia Yuxuan spotted me waving at her immediately. She walked over, then saw a small, low stool, greasy and filthy. After hesitating for a few seconds, she still sat down. Jia Yuxuan had seen me riding a bicycle before, so she had expected it. I would not be taking her to an upscale restaurant, but this place was far too shabby. At the stall next door, Jia Yuxuan also saw flies buzzing wildly over the ingredients. Used to clean, brightly lit places to eat, she found it hard to accept. So she had already prepared herself to go hungry. "Mr. Mu Chen, are you all right now?" "I am fine. They prescribed me some medicine too. I should not suddenly pass out like that again. This new medicine is quite expensive, so I have to work hard and make money." Jia Yuxuan froze at my words. It felt as if I had first decided that I needed money, and only then started writing songs. If that was true, his talent was simply unbelievable. "That is good then. You really scared me when you passed out." She grew curious about the quality of the songs. "Mr. Mu Chen, where are the songs you wrote?" Just then, the owner brought over the food I had ordered. I first served myself a bowl of egg fried rice. Then I served Jia Yuxuan a heaping bowl as well. I even packed it down firmly with a spoon. "I have already planned everything out. I wrote quite a lot while waiting for you, but I have not finished yet. Go ahead and eat." Jia Yuxuan looked awkwardly at that bowl of egg fried rice. Out of courtesy, she accepted it with both hands and thanked me. But she had no intention of taking a bite. I wolfed down a huge mouthfuls of rice. Then I picked up my pen and paper and continued writing. As I wrote, I shoveled down a few bites of fried rice. Watching me actually made Jia Yuxuan hungry. So she carefully looked over the dishes on the table. After much hesitation, she chose a skewer of stinky tofu. When Jia Yuxuan bit into the piping hot stinky tofu, her eyes widened despite herself. Taste-wise, it was actually pretty good. She then set down the stinky tofu and tried the fish balls I had just eaten. The moment she put one in her mouth, her eyes lit up. "This is insanely delicious." Just then, I finished the third song and handed it to her. Jia Yuxuan hurriedly put down the chicken wing she had just picked up. She accepted the pages with both hands and carefully read through them. After seeing all 3 songs, Jia Yuxuan knew she had to be right. I had to be Mu Leyao's Mr. Zhu. It reminded her of her first meeting with Mu Leyao. Sitting beside Mu Leyao, she had proudly said, "I know both Mr. Feng and Mr. Wang. They have both promised to write songs for me." Mu Leyao had been full of envy then, because they were renowned songwriters and composers. Even money could not guarantee the chance to work with them. Yet just then, Mu Leyao's phone gave a soft buzz. A radiant smile quickly spread across her face. "I know, Mr. Zhu." Meanwhile, at the Mu family estate, Butler Liu gestured for them to leave. Several household staff immediately breathed sighs of relief. Grateful, they hurried away from the trouble. Butler Liu had practically watched Mu Yulu grow up. He considered himself someone who understood her very well. In his view, after Mu Yulu took over the Mu family from the previous lady of the house, the hardest thing for her was likely restraining herself from favoring Mu Xuan too openly. That was why Mu Yulu would instinctively overlook Mu Xuan's many flaws. In Mu Yulu's mind, Mu Xuan was an innocent child starved of love who sometimes did foolish things. Butler Liu certainly did not see him that way. After Mu Xuan returned to the Mu family, Mu Yulu put Butler Liu personally in charge of Mu Xuan's bedroom. Every morning when Butler Liu went in to clean, he could smell different women's perfume scents every morning. Sometimes he would find false eyelashes on the floor, along with nail stickers and similar odds and ends. He had also found in Mu Xuan's bedroom drawers some of Yulu's jewelry. Butler Liu had never once seen Mu Yulu give away jewelry she had worn herself, so he could roughly guess what had happened. Mu Xuan had stolen those things, most likely to give them to someone else. But since Mu Yulu did not ask about such trivial matters, Butler Liu would not bring them up himself. He would pretend he knew nothing. Though Mu Yulu now ran the Mu family, he could not afford to offend any young miss or young master. That was the wisdom Butler Liu had gained over many years. If he wanted to keep working comfortably for the Mu family, he could not offend any member of the family. That was also why, back then, even though I was treated worse than a servant in the Mu family, Butler Liu still treated me with respect. So in Butler Liu's eyes, Mu Xuan was naturally nothing like the innocent, foolish child Mu Yulu believed him to be. Leyao, what are you talking about? How could your sister cruelly drive you away? Please, stop making things so difficult for me. One of you is my biological younger sister, and the other is my biological younger brother. How am I supposed to choose between you? I cannot drive either of you away. Mu Yulu became even more distraught. Her voice had grown hoarse. Mu Xuan, buy her an identical porcelain vase tomorrow to replace it. Leyao, this is all my fault. Please do not be angry with me, okay? Before I leave, I will buy one to replace it. As he spoke, he reached out to help Mu Leyao up, but Mu Leyao forcefully knocked his hand away. Do not touch me. You are a grown man, yet you play the victim at the slightest thing. Look at yourself. Do you not find yourself disgusting? A few tears immediately fell from Mu Xuan's eyes. I will leave right now. Mu Yulu immediately grabbed Mu Xuan's arm. You are not going anywhere today. Then she looked at Mu Leyao in disbelief. Mu Xuan is your biological younger brother. He is the only younger brother we sisters have. Without him, can the Mu family even be considered whole? Can the Mu family line carry on without him? Leyao, why have you become so narrow-minded? Why are you forcing me to make such a painful choice? Mu Xuan has suffered enough since childhood. He endured so much hardship out there for all those years. And you still want to treat him like this? Mu Leyao kept shaking her head in denial. She could not understand what her eldest sister meant by suffering. Mu Xuan had not been a homeless orphan all these years. He had adoptive parents and lived a normal life. And if suffering meant you could be endlessly forgiven, then what about Mu Chen? Why did I live like a servant in the Mu family for over a decade? Yet you suggested throwing me out of the Mu family? Because Mu Yulu kept avoiding the issue. Mu Leyao had already vaguely found her answer. She turned and walked away without hesitation. Mu Yulu cried out, her voice thick with tears. Leyao, come back here now. But unlike when she had stopped Mu Xuan earlier, she did not run over and grab Mu Leao's hand. Still, Mu Leyao stopped. Then she strode toward Mu Xuan. The next instant, a sharp slap rang out. Mu Xuan's ears rang from the blow. The other side of his face visibly reddened as well. Watch your mouth from now on. As she turned toward the door, she caught Mu Xuan's curled lips from the corner of her eye. His lips moved soundlessly, but from the shape of his lips, she could clearly tell he was cursing her. So Mu Leyao turned back and slapped him again. Good thing you have such a thick skin. Otherwise, my hand would hurt from slapping you. With that, she left the dining room without looking back. Once Mu Yulu came to her senses, she roared, Leyao, get back here now. But no answer came from outside. When Mu Xuan felt both cheeks swelling, humiliation, hatred, pain, and other emotions surged through him. He nearly ground his teeth to pieces. He stared fixedly in the direction Mu Leyao had left. Only then did Butler Liu dare to speak. I will go check on her. He did not want the situation to get worse either. If he went out to persuade her now, this was their best chance to persuade Mu Leyao to come back. Just then, Mu Xuan spoke through sobs as he cried, Sister, I will go out with Butler Liu. Once we bring her back, I will rent a place outside. When she has calmed down, I will come back and apologize. At that, Mu Yulu spoke, her body trembling. No one is to look for her over the next few days. We cannot let her keep acting so willfully. Do not worry. When your second sister returns from abroad, I will explain everything to her for you. Besides, Leyao will not keep this up for long. She might come home on her own tomorrow. Mu Xuan opened his mouth, wanting to say more, but Mu Yulu cut him off with a wave of her hand. First, deal with the matter involving Zhao Menqi. Do not worry. It is not a big deal. In Mu Yulu's mind, she thought it was only a phone call away. But when she reached Lawyer Lu by phone, she learned that it could no longer be settled privately like last time. The last matter had gone so smoothly. Because I was still with the Mu family then, I casually said a few words to Mu Chen at the time, telling him that his eldest sister wanted the matter to end there. That was why Mu Chen chose not to take the matter to court. But as for the situation now, has Mu Chen not already left the Mu family? What grounds do I have to persuade Mu Chen? Not long ago, Lu Jingmin helped the Mu family remove me from their household registry. So he guessed that the Mu family and I had completely fallen out, which was why he said that. Mu Yulu was completely stunned by his words. She had nearly forgotten that the right to sue was in my hands. Mu Yulu also felt that, even in the past, the easygoing me would have filed a lawsuit, much less the person I was now. Then I will contact you later, Lawyer Lu. First, I will take Mu Xuan to speak to Mu Chen in person. We will see if we can persuade him not to sue. After repeatedly hitting a wall with me these past few days, she naturally knew how difficult it would be to change my mind. So, she did not intend to waste Lu Jingmin's time. The call darkened Mu Zhuan's face as he sat nearby. Not only had my kick traumatized him, and he still had to bow his head to the person he hated most, the man he loathed so much he wanted to tear him apart and apologize. Just thinking about it made Mu Zhuan sick. Butler Liu, standing nearby, felt utterly exhausted. In his view, if those two went to persuade him, they had virtually no chance of succeeding. Deep down, Mu Yulu still believed I was the obedient child who never fought back when hit or answered back when insulted. Or perhaps she believed outsiders all had to show the Mu family respect. Butler Liu thought to himself that I would never fall for that now. After all, I was already terminally ill. How could I possibly keep wronging myself? So, rather than waste their effort, they should try talking to Zhao Manqi instead. They just needed to make her stop mentioning the payoff she took back then. But Butler Liu was even less likely to offer that suggestion. Meanwhile, at the coffee shop, Qinghuan, dressed in her work uniform, was taking notes. From how to use the coffee machine to the proper water ratios, Qinghuan recorded it all with meticulous care. Whenever she saw a dirty table, she would eagerly clean it herself. The shop manager, Liu Jiai, could not help marveling to herself. Who knew there were temporary workers this dedicated? She had truly struck gold this time. Just then, on the television mounted on the wall, a host broke in with the news update. Jia Yuxuan will once again collaborate with Mr. Mu Chen on a new song. Qinghuan, who was delivering drinks with a tray, suddenly swayed slightly. The tray in her hands abruptly tipped off balance. The drinks crashed heavily to the floor. Glass shards scattered everywhere. Liu Jiai jumped in fright. She was about to scold Qinghuan for being careless. But then, Liu Jiai recalled her boss Jia Yuxuan's instructions. She quickly hurried over. First, she helped Qinghuan apologize to the customers. Then she had the other staff clean up the floor. Qinghuan was led to the staff break room. After the two entered, Qinghuan was just about to apologize. But Liu Jiai spoke first. I think you have just been too tired lately. Go look at yourself in a mirror. You do not look well, either. How about this? Leave early today and get some proper rest. Hearing that, Qinghuan thought she was being fired. She desperately needed this job. But after making such a serious mistake, she was too ashamed to ask to stay. Liu Jiai seemed to notice something. She gently asked, testing the waters. Qinghuan, have you run into some trouble lately? Is it about money? I can advance this month's pay to you. Meanwhile, at the Mu family estate, Mu Yulu had put on exquisite makeup. She was preparing to visit a company she had invested in for a very important meeting. Xiaoman, help me find a necklace. It is in the innermost cabinet, the one displayed on black velvet. After a while, Sister Yulu, are you sure it is in the neighboring cabinet? I checked every cabinet carefully, but I cannot find the necklace you described. At those words, Mu Yulu froze. She soon saw the empty cushion behind the glass display. The emotions Mu Yulu had only just calmed came violently surging back. The necklace was not worth much money, but it held special meaning for her. More than that, Mu Yulu never expected that someone in this household would steal. So she immediately called Butler Liu. What Mu Yulu did not notice was that, after Mu Zhuan, at the end of the hallway, saw this, his expression became extremely tense. Ordinarily, Mu Zhuan would not have been this flustered. Even if he admitted it outright, he would only get scolded. But now, Mu Zhuan truly feared his eldest sister would be disappointed in him and refused to help him anymore. So he quickly turned and ran to his room. 10 minutes later, Mu Yulu said to Butler Liu, who had hurried over, I have lost a precious necklace. Find out who stole it. Butler Liu was briefly taken aback. Then he immediately knew the answer. But Butler Liu did not directly suggest searching Mu Zhuan's room. That would have been far too obvious. Mu Yulu would realize he had known all along. Just as Butler Liu was about to suggest checking the hallway cameras, Mu Zhuan's voice sounded behind him. Butler Liu, how do you run this household? You cannot even manage a few housekeepers. You let them steal my sister's necklace. I saw a few of them acting suspiciously earlier. I bet it is in the staff quarters in the north wing. Hearing this, Butler Liu nearly lost his composure. He truly wanted to say to Mu Zhuan, keep up the act, and I will tell them everything. But Butler Liu ultimately held it in. It was a failure in my management. Please forgive me, young master and miss. I will search the staff rooms immediately. Butler Liu had already made up his mind. If Mu Zhuan had truly hidden the necklace in a staff member's room to frame them, then afterward, he would check the security footage and hand the video to Mu Yulu. Before long, they arrived at the north wing. Under Butler Liu's careful arrangements, the staff stood outside their respective rooms, waiting to be searched one by one. Just as Mu Yulu was about to enter the first room, she glanced at the nearby stairs. A thought suddenly sprang into Mu Yulu's mind. Could it have been Mu Chen? To confirm the answer in her heart, Mu Yulu had Butler Liu accompany her downstairs, back to the room where I once lived. The same cold, damp feeling washed over them as they entered. Since she had Butler Liu cleared out last time, the room looked bare and empty, because Butler Liu had personally cleaned out the room. He keenly noticed that it appeared someone had rummaged through it. Butler Liu immediately realized something. Sure enough, after following the signs and searching around, he found a necklace wedged beneath the mattress. Butler Liu thought to himself, Mu Xuan had actually been clever for once. If he had planted it in one of the staff rooms, the staff might have argued their innocence, prompting Mu Yulu to keep investigating. But I had already been completely driven out. No matter how grave the accusation against me, I could no longer defend myself. And in Mu Yulu's eyes, I was exactly the kind of person who would steal. Naturally, she would assume that I had done it myself. 6 years earlier, backstage at a music program, after Jia Yuxuan proudly said she knew many lyricists, Mu Leyao answered with an equally proud smile. She said she knew mysterious Mr. Zhu. Jia Yuxuan had never heard of him. She privately assumed he was probably some unknown lyricist, or perhaps Mu Leyao had invented the name, just to save face. But soon, Jia Yuxuan understood why Mu Leyao was so proud. One song after another became a nationwide hit. Entertainment reporters swarmed Mu Leyao whenever she recorded a show. The entire internet began frantically searching for Mr. Zhu, the man behind hit song after hit song. Even Jia Yuxuan's own mother would approach Mu Leyao in public, with the utmost humility to speak with her, all to get a song personally composed by Mr. Zhu. Of course, Jia Yuxuan had wanted to work with him, and she had thought about it more than once. Yet now, Mr. Zhu was sitting right beside her, writing so many songs for her. Jia Yuxuan felt as if she were dreaming. Mr. Mu Chen, was there anything wrong with my singing just now? After reviewing the 3 songs and finding no issues at all, Jia Yuxuan directly sent me a deposit, then brought me to the studio to record one of them. I put on my headphones, listened for 2 seconds, then nodded. Yes, it sounds quite good. Jia Yuxuan could tell I was brushing her off. Mr. Mu Chen, could you take this seriously? I will pay you an extra 50,000 yuan. I will have my assistant transfer it to you right now. I immediately sat up straight. I carefully listened to the entire recording again. She really did sing very well. After saying that, I thought Jia Yuxuan would think I was messing with her, so I was ready to return the 50,000. But unexpectedly, Jia Yuxuan actually smiled. Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Mu Chen. Oh, right? It seems Qinghuan really is in some trouble. At that, my nerves immediately tightened. What happened to her? According to one of my employees, her family seems to be facing some difficulties. They did not give the details. Apparently, she needs 100,000 yuan. That is why she suddenly took a part-time job at a cafe. I silently took out my phone. I looked again at Qinghuan's messages from the past few days. That faint ache in my heart returned. Looking at the messages on the screen, thinking of all she had endured these past few days, my vision went dark. Mr. Mu Chen, it seems she has already removed you from her contacts. Jia Yuxuan saw that I seemed about to send money, so she gave me a reminder. I froze on the spot, and I painfully realized that Qinghuan and I had truly gone our separate ways. For some reason, I suddenly remembered a movie we had watched together. With a bitter smile, I looked at Jia Yuxuan. Can you do me a favor? Find a way to get this 100,000 yuan to her. Jia Yuxuan readily agreed. Meanwhile, after Mu Leyao drove aimlessly for hours, she had calmed down somewhat. She pulled over at the roadside. The streetlights along the quiet road glowed a dim yellow. Mu Leyao walked ahead alone. The streetlights cast her shadow long behind her. After hearing that radio broadcast, she thought of her past self again. After she bragged to Jia Yuxuan about knowing Mr. Zhu, the two of them left the venue together. Mu Leyao saw Jia Yuxuan's parents step out of a luxury car. They gave their daughter a warm embrace, and Mu Leao's expression became complicated. Mu Leyao wished her eldest sister had come for her too. Just then, I walked over, pushing a bicycle. I kept calling her sister. It is too late. I called the driver to pick me up. Hurry home first. After saying that, Mu Leyao hurriedly turned away, waving for me to leave quickly. After recalling that moment, Mu Leyao slowly shook her head and murmured, "How could I have looked down on him? What right did I have to reject him? He was even willing to give me his own life. Why did I still treat him that way?" Mu Leao's eyes gradually reddened. Sorrow kept spreading through her heart. Why had she been that way back then? That younger brother who loved her most. How much pain had he silently endured? Her pocket began vibrating again. Mu Leyao took out her phone, glanced at it, and answered. Mu Yulu's voice carried both concern and reproach. "Leyao, why have you not answered any of my calls? Do you know how worried I am about you? Come back now. Do not make your sister worry anymore." Mu Leyao answered coldly. "Sister, I am not going back." Mu Yulu's tone hardened over the phone. "This is all because of Mu Chen, right? What has he done to get inside your head? Someone like him does not deserve your pity. I just found out he even steals from his own family. Who knows how many times he has done this before?" Mu Leyao immediately shouted back. "That is impossible. Mu Chen could never be that kind of person. Why are you so prejudiced against him? You thought he did it last time too. And what was the truth? I bet that bastard Mu Xuan did it again." Mu Yulu heard her sister swear over the phone and insult her biological brother, and fury instantly surged within her. "Mu Xuan is your biological brother. Leyao, you are becoming more and more like a stranger to me. Your eldest sister is truly disappointed in you. Fine. I will set the jewelry matter aside for now, but I have to ask him about Zhao Manqi. If he refuses to drop the lawsuit, then there is absolutely no room for negotiation." Hearing this, Mu Leyao suddenly burst into tears. "Stop bullying him. Do you know how much he has suffered in the Mu family all these years? Now illness is torturing him half to death. He only has 1 year left. How do you expect him to live? Big sister, I am begging you. He has suffered enough in this life." A while later, by the time I finished handling the 3 songs, it was already evening. After getting out of the taxi and walking to the entrance of my complex, I spotted Mu Leyao in the distance. Mu Leyao pressed her lips together and lowered her head. Her white shirt was stained with wine. Her gray hair hung loose, and her expression was desolate. Hearing movement beside her, she raised her head. "Mu Chen, are you all right?" Before Mu Leyao could finish speaking, a sharp ache rose in her heart. How could he possibly be all right? Mu Leao's voice softened and trembled. She smiled, but tears glimmered in her eyes. "I went back to the hospital and found you were gone. I was worried about you, so I came to find you. But I did not even raise my head, nor did my steps pause for even a moment. Mu Chen, your second sister really needs to talk to you." Mu Leyao reached out and grabbed the hem of my shirt. She had expected me to be cold, but when she saw me completely ignore her, that ache flooded her heart again. I turned slightly, seeing Mu Leyao clutching my shirt so tightly. Memories instantly surged through my mind. When I was little, in her room, when I found those kids from outside, she stood behind me just like this. Her eyes brimming with tears, she looked hurt and helpless as she clutched my shirt. That was how I protected my sister. That was how I protected my Niu, silently staying by my second sister's side, until she finally became the superstar singer basking in the spotlight today. When Mu Leyao saw me stop walking, her heart began to race. Whether he was Mu Chen or Mr. Zhu, he had always been so gentle with me. He had always cared for me so attentively. Maybe I could hear him call me sister again. But I suddenly pulled away. Tears quickly gathered in Mu Leao's eyes. One after another, they fell onto her shirt. "Mu Chen, I truly know I was wrong. Big sister wrongly accused you, did she not? Your sister will help you, I promise." I slapped away the hand she reached out again. "What is wrong with all of you? Every time I tell you to stay the hell away from me, you come running back just to make me sick. Do you need me to go back and be your dog again, before you are satisfied? Have you no shame?" Mu Leyao was left dazed by those words. She could barely keep herself standing. Only at this moment did her last remaining hope shatter. She knew that no matter what she did, she could never go back. Mu Leyao broke down and sobbed aloud. Mu Chen would never call her Niu again. "Mom, I am home." After I unlocked the door, I saw my little sister bent over the table, quietly working on her homework. When Xiaonuan saw me return, she happily put all her homework away. Then she took a stack of contract documents from the drawer beneath the table. "Brother, do not put your things in my drawer. There is no room left for my books." Smiling, I could not resist ruffling her hair. "Sorry. I will be more careful next time." "You mean this, right?" I took a little ball from my pocket. Xiaonuan had once told me that one of her classmates had a toy that popped out a doll when you twisted it open. I heard the envy in my sister's voice. So I bought her one when I passed a supermarket. Xiaonuan's eyes lit up, but she seemed to feel that this little toy, which cost a few dozen yuan, was not a necessity. The smile on her face faded slightly. I remembered when I sold the rights to my first piano piece and took my sister out for a big meal. I chose an expensive all-you-can-eat buffet. It had every kind of dish, seafood, barbecue, and more. Yet my sister only ate the fried rice. Later, when she learned all the food was included, Xiaonuan looked like she wanted to cry but had no tears left. She was all ready to fold to eat another bite. I silently told myself, it will never be like that again. Your brother makes plenty of money now. We will not have to struggle like we used to. After Mom brought the food from the kitchen to the table, the three of us gathered around and began to eat. Mom had made a whole table full of delicious dishes. Looking at the feast before me, I ate mouthful after mouthful. I finally realized that even though I had left that old home, some wounds had not disappeared with it. But that was all right, as long as our family was together. I felt those wounds would fade. But soon, a rapid, violent knock at the door shattered the warmth around our dinner table. When I got up and opened the door, the smile on my face instantly vanished. Mu Chen, I know you hate the Mu family, but after all, we were once family. There are some things I hope you will consider. Seeing that I had no intention of letting her in, Mu Yulu continued speaking. I am the one who wronged you. Because of my many failings, you suffered so much in the Mu family these past years. If you are willing, we can discuss compensation right now. After saying that, she had braced herself for my refusal, but to her surprise, I nodded. All right, thinking of the missing jewelry. Mu Yulu sneered inwardly, but she did not show it. Then let us go inside and talk properly. I slowly shook my head. There is no need to go inside. First, make that person behind you kneel on the ground and slam his head against the floor 3 times. Then throw him out of the Mu family, and we can talk. Mu Yulu realized I had played her. She could not take it anymore. Mu Chen, I am trying to have a civilized conversation with you. There has to be a limit to everything. See, you are losing your temper again. You are as annoying as a leech. Every few days, you show up just to discuss me. Mu Yulu's face instantly flushed red. Her voice shook with rage. You. Mu Yulu started to speak, then swallowed her words and held herself back. In short, you cannot sue Zhao Manqi. Even if you do, you cannot drag Mu Xuan into it. Mu Xuan can apologize to you, but kneeling and bowing his head is out of the question. As she spoke, Mu Yulu pulled Mu Xuan forward, signaling for him to apologize to me. But unexpectedly, I slammed the door shut. Then I coldly left them with one last remark. I had not even thought of suing Mu Xuan. Thanks for the reminder. Meanwhile, after Qinghuan worked all day at the coffee shop, she did not go straight back to school. Instead, she went home looking exhausted. When she pushed open the door, she saw her mother, Zhang Jingran, calling people to borrow money. Seeing bottles and cans scattered all over the floor, and the heavy stench of alcohol filling the living room. How could Qinghuan not know that her mother was spiraling into another drunken frenzy? During her junior year of high school, after her parents divorced, her mother developed a drinking problem. Back then, Qinghuan argued with her mother over her drinking, and her mother threw half a can of beer over her clothes. Afraid of being late, she wiped herself off quickly and ran to school. But a strict security guard stopped her at the gate, saying she reeked of alcohol and could not enter. Even now, Qinghuan clearly remembered how long people had mocked her that day. It was only when I brought her homeroom teacher to the school gate and explained things to the guard that she was allowed inside. After she got home, Qinghuan told her mother what had happened. Zhang Jingran kept apologizing to Qinghuan. She swore she would never drink again. But now, it seemed, Qinghuan sighed. She had expected this. After the divorce, her mother had taken up gambling as well as drinking. During the day, she followed online influencers for advice. At night, she gambled wildly on anything she could. Things had been all right for the first 2 years. Her mother received this apartment and a settlement in the divorce. Even without a job, though she spent every day studying those things, she had still managed to get by. But yesterday, Qinghuan suddenly learned that her mother had spent every last cent. This apartment had also been mortgaged to the bank. She even owed 100,000 yuan in outside debts. If she could not repay the debt within the next few days, those people would splash red paint all over their home. Worried about her mother's condition, Qinghuan had rushed home. Seeing her mother in such a miserable state, Qinghuan knew her fears had been justified. Qinghuan, you are home. Have you eaten? Do you want mom to make you something? Zhang Jingran suddenly asked in a gentle voice. As she spoke, she actually struggled to her feet to cook. Qinghuan froze where she stood. She even wondered if she had come home to the wrong place. It had been a long time since her mother had offered to cook for her. Besides, as far as she remembered, her mother was always exceptionally volatile after drinking. So, why was she being so gentle today? Before long, Zhang Jingran made the simple home-cooked dishes and cooked Qinghuan a large bowl of noodles. As Qinghuan ate the noodles, she truly felt a warmth she had not known in a long time. Her father had left, and this family had fallen apart so suddenly. Qinghuan had felt as though her whole world had gone dark. But her mother's sudden change in attitude made her see a glimmer of light. Mom, I have found a part-time job. Do not worry about the money. We will find a solution together. Before Qinghuan could finish, Zhang Jingran coldly cut her off. Sweetheart, mom needs to ask something of you. Annie Wang, the one whose home you always ate at as a child. Her son graduated just a year ago, and he earns tens of thousands of yuan a month. Annie Wang and I talked it over carefully. In a few days, we will arrange a blind date for you. As she spoke, Zhang Jingran dialed the number. Qinghuan's voice turned icy. I already have a boyfriend. To make her mother abandon the idea as soon as possible, she said it directly and decisively. But Zhang Jingran still would not let it go. It is only a meeting. What is the harm in that? Qinghuan seemed to realize something. Did you take their money? The moment she said that, she caught Zhang Jingran's hesitation. Give their money back, now. What am I to you, really? Have you ever treated me as your daughter? Qinghuan was so hurt that she was on the verge of tears. Zhang Jingran still refused to give up the idea. Her voice was thick with tears. Those relatives are all heartless ingrates. Not one of them will lend me money. If I had any other option, I would never have resorted to this. Sweetheart, can you really bear to watch me be driven into a corner? Qinghuan felt that suffocating feeling return. What about me? Will you only be satisfied once you have driven me into a corner too? She truly could not stay there another second. With that, she ran into her bedroom and locked the door tight. After doing all that, Qinghuan slumped helplessly against the side of her bed. All at once, she felt utterly alone. It seemed no one in this world truly cared about her anymore. It felt like being diagnosed with a terminal illness. Only it was not physical but a mental breakdown. In a sense, the two were the same. Either one could rob a person of all hope for tomorrow. Just then, Qinghuan's phone began to ring. She had no desire to answer it, but she caught sight of the caller identification. It was Liu Jiayi, the owner of the coffee shop. Ms. Liu. What is it? Liu Jiayi sounded delighted on the other end. Qinghuan, you are my lucky charm. The lottery ticket I bought hit the jackpot. Qinghuan was stunned. To her, lotteries were simply a tax on stupidity. Liu Jiayi suddenly said over the phone, Qinghuan, you are a kind-hearted person. I really did consider keeping it all for myself. But I promised we would split it equally, and I will keep my word. Qinghuan was completely stunned. Then she remembered. Liu Jiayi had mentioned it when she borrowed money from her. Ms. Liu, I lent you the money, but I absolutely cannot accept this. Before she could finish, she was cut off. All right, I have already transferred the money. I have things to do. I am hanging up now. Qinghuan stared at the message, completely stunned. It was a full 100,000 yuan. Meanwhile, Mu Yulu was still making a scene outside my door. Mu Chen, if you have any conscience left, open the door. Do you know what the Mu family has become because of you? Leyao stormed out of the house because of you. And now you want to sue your own brother. Mu Yulu roared outside the door. Hearing that from behind the door nearly made me throw up. My own brother? A brother who wanted me dead, my enemy. Besides, I did not understand a word of what Mu Yulu was saying. I had long since left the Mu family. Yet this idiot was still pinning everything on me. If I did not fire back, I would not sleep peacefully tonight. I opened the front door again. Seeing that, Mu Yulu thought I had changed my mind. Mu Chen, there are plenty of empty rooms at the estate. You can move in with your mother and sister. Then we can go find Leyao together and live peacefully as a family. When Mu Yulu was very young, her mother often told her that the cold estate alone could not be called a home. It became a home because the family lived there, making it a warm place to belong. So although Mu Yulu had never considered me family in the truest sense, for the sake of her third sister and Mu Xuan, and for this family's so-called wholeness, Mu Yulu was willing to accept this outsider. In the name of family, there are plenty of empty rooms. Those words instantly stopped what I was about to say. I had lived in the basement for more than a decade, so there had always been plenty of rooms. So Mu Yulu did know. The basement was not the only vacant space in the entire estate. Go back and accept your fake charity, so I can keep living in that dark basement? I think people and animals should be kept apart. They should never live under the same roof. And why do not you tell me exactly how I slowly turned all your lives upside down? Have I sought any of you out even once these past few days? You are as self-righteous as ever, always blaming everyone else for everything. My tone was perfectly calm, but Mu Yulu was about to explode with rage. Her body shook uncontrollably, yet she could not find a single word to refute me. And right then, Mu Xuan, standing behind Mu Yulu, had a vicious glint in his eyes. By then, Mu Xuan could hardly have missed my cold, unyielding attitude. He could not help clenching his teeth. I caught that shift in his expression at once. What is with that look on your face? I shoved Mu Yulu roughly aside, then forcefully pushed Mu Xuan away. I warned him sharply. If you dare lay a finger on my family, I will never let you get away with it. Speak. Do not stand there acting like you cannot talk. Mu Xuan was shaken by my sudden move and the vicious look on my face. At that moment, he deeply realized the man before him had less than a year left to live, so he did not doubt my threat for a second. He was even afraid I might do something extreme right then. He still had a life of wealth and luxury ahead of him. I was merely a dying man. Trading his life for mine would be a terrible loss. So Mu Xuan quickly backed down. Brother, I would never do that. I am not that kind of person. Mu Yulu was also frightened by the scene. By the time she came to her senses in shock, I had already slammed the front door shut again. I coldly left them with one final warning. Leave now, or I am getting a knife. The next day, I received a call from Lu Jingming. He told me that at Mu Leyao's request, he had gotten Zhao Manqi to admit she had spread the rumors. And because of a minor incident, he had even gotten Zhao Manqi placed in detention. That morning, at a local police station, led by an officer, I entered the detention room. The officer called Zhao Manqi out from the corner. It was Zhao Manqi's first time in detention, and she had not slept all night. Her hair was a tangled mess, and she looked utterly drained. Once seated, she began to sob. Please do not sue me, all right. I made up all those rumors. I truly know I was wrong. I gave a cold laugh. I remember what you wrote in that post. You said that if you lied, lightning would strike you the moment you stepped outside. So, when do you think karma will catch up with you? Zhao Manqi felt deeply humiliated. Her emotions suddenly flared. Why will not you let me go? Have I not already apologized to you? Then why could not you let me go back then? After you made that post back then? Do you know the vicious messages I received? They all told me to go die. Have you ever known the despair of being attacked by countless people, while those around you misunderstand and distrust you? The officer beside us could not help nodding at that. The online environment may be better now, but back then, all it took was an infuriating headline and a comment section full of replies for countless people to rush in and pile on. Then the next day, the truth would come out. It was fake news. The spectators would scatter at once, but the deep wounds they caused would remain in the victim's heart for a very long time. After hearing that, Zhao Manqi began to sense that I had not come to settle with her privately. She sobbed loudly again in desperation. I truly know I was wrong. I do not want to go to prison. Please, do not sue me. When I ignored her, Zhao Manqi grew more emotional with every word. I have not even graduated from college yet. My life has not even truly begun. Why are you being so relentless? You are going to ruin my entire life. Did a few insults really hurt you that badly? Why are you being so cruel to me? I gave a cold, angry laugh. I am not your father. Why should I care whether you go to prison? When someone put you up to making that post, did you ever consider that your actions might ruin my life? Zhao Manqi froze at those words. Only after she was coldly locked in the detention center, facing the possibility of being sued and sentenced, and hearing what I had said, did Zhao Manqi realize for the first time just how outrageous her actions had been. When she did those things, she had never truly considered that she might destroy the life of someone who had never wronged her. Let me ask you something. The person who paid you to frame me, was it Mu Xuan? My words pulled Zhao Manqi from her thoughts. After a moment of silence, Zhao Manqi nodded heavily. Having gotten the answer I wanted, I walked out. Lu Jingming, waiting outside, gave me a wave. Need my help? If I sue Mu Xuan, will you help me with that too? Lu Jingming nodded without hesitation. Though it was Ms. Mu Yulu who hired me for Zhao Manqi's case a year ago, I have actually worked more often with Ms. Mu Leyao. After all, She is such a popular singer, and I am paid to do a job. That made me think of what Mu Leyao said last night. She had said she would help me, so this was what she meant. Then I will leave it to you, Attorney Lu. I knew Lu Jingmin was among the best lawyers in all of Jiangsheng. With him gathering evidence and filing the case in court, our chances of success would be much higher. And from the fact that Lu Jingmin had already helped me report the case and contact Zhao Manqi, I could tell he sincerely wanted to help me. Then I will go prepare right away. We found the account that transferred money to Zhao Manqi, but that alone is not enough. We will need additional supporting evidence. With that, Lu Jingmin strode out of the police station. Just as I was about to leave too, my phone gave a soft vibration. I took it out and saw a text from an unknown number. Mu Chen, is that you? About that 100,000 yuan. A piercing pain stabbed through my heart. These past few days, I had desperately tried not to think about all those memories I shared with Qinghuan. I thought only then could I keep reminding myself that love was something I could no longer hope for. Just when I finally thought I had forgotten, I saw the text Qinghuan had sent, and everything came crashing back. I could never forget, not for as long as I lived. It has to be you, right? You were at the coffee shop that day. Why did this happen? Then the text began arriving faster. I am truly sorry about that day. It was as if I could not control myself. I do not know why I push you. I truly love you. You have to believe me. I never wanted to hurt you. Where are you? Can we meet? As I stared at the text on my screen, that wrenching pain rose in my chest again. It was as though I could feel Qinghuan's pain. That girl who loved me so deeply had personally pushed me onto the cold floor. This was all my fault. You did nothing wrong. Do not apologize anymore. Do not be sad anymore. That dazed, hollow feeling came over me again. The first time was when I was diagnosed with a terminal illness. The second was when I asked to break up. Today, it came for the third time. Seeing me sway, the officer beside me asked, "Are you all right?" But before he could finish, I suddenly fell backward without warning. When I opened my eyes again, I saw my attending physician, Zhang Jingran, sitting beside my bed and peeling an apple. "You are finally awake." I took the apple and slowly sat up. "Dr. Zhang, did you not say this medicine could prevent me from fainting? Why does it feel like I am fainting more often?" "The medicine is fine. Trust medical science. Your emotions have been unstable lately, have they not? Especially when you are overwhelmed by grief. That is likely what triggered your fainting." Seeing my expression, Zhang Jingran knew he had guessed correctly. "I have told you before. Try to be happier every day. Living like this will only make your condition worsen faster." "Thank you, doctor. I will be careful. Remember to take your medicine on time. Oh, and one more thing. The police officer rushed you here. We did not know how to reach your family, so we contacted the person you were messaging. She should be here any moment." After Zhang Jingran left the room, panic immediately crossed my face. I truly did not know how to face Qinghuan now. Wave after wave of complicated emotions crashed over me, driving me to get up. I quickly put on my shoes and stepped outside, but I walked straight into Qinghuan's arms. Our pounding heartbeats filled the air. It felt as though our breathing stopped in that instant. The small body in my arms was soft and fragrant. Qinghuan took a deep breath. Again and again, she reminded herself what they were to each other now, just as she gritted her teeth and prepared to push me away. The next moment, a commotion erupted behind me. A short middle-aged man appeared to be drunk. He muttered that he had waited forever, and no doctor would see him. When a hospital security guard suspected he might cause trouble and moved to escort him away, the man's emotions suddenly escalated. He suddenly broke into a sprint. When he reached the spot behind me, he lunged forward. As I sensed the movement behind me and turned around, Qinghuan threw her arms around me and took the attack. The security guard rushed over at once, quickly subduing the middle-aged man, and pinned him to the floor with his knee. My head would not stop buzzing. It was as if something else had taken control of me. As I stood, I knocked over a cart beside me. When I saw the scalpel on the floor, it felt like I had found an outlet. I gripped it tightly in my hand and walked toward the middle-aged man security was dragging away. Only one thought remained in my mind. Qinghuan, being lifted onto a gurney by the arriving nurses, called out in a trembling voice. Mu Chen, the dead silent world I had fallen into, was suddenly lit by a streak of color. I threw away the scalpel and ran to Qinghuan. "I am here." But before Qinghuan could say another word, the nurses wheeled the gurney away, rushing Qinghuan into the emergency room. The next few hours were the longest of my life. That heavy, inescapable gloom weighed on me until I trembled and could barely breathe. The doctor finally announced that the bleeding had stopped and she was out of danger. Only then did I finally see a glimmer of light. Meanwhile, at the Mu residence, a television in one room was reporting. At noon on the 13th, at the first affiliated hospital of Jiangshang Medical University, a patient surnamed Wu, allegedly unhappy with the long wait, became emotionally unstable after being refused permission to cut in line. He attacked someone with a knife, injuring one person. The case currently contains many unanswered questions. Police have swiftly begun an investigation. Mu Xuan, seated in the corner of the room, heard the news report on television, and his whole body began trembling uncontrollably. After I threatened him yesterday, the first thing he felt was deep fear. After returning to his room, that fear faded, replaced by hatred. He hated me for trying to take away the peaceful life he had fought so hard to gain. That hatred sent his mind into a feverish frenzy. In that extreme state, Mu Chen made the same decision he had made half a year ago. He hired someone to stab me and vent his rage. But now, realizing the truth might come out, his teeth began to chatter softly. His expression twisted with unbearable agony. Mu Chen kept replaying everything in his mind, wondering whether he had made any mistakes. There should not be a problem. He had already paid. At the Mu Estate's dinner banquet, the lights blazed brilliantly. As guest Zhou Jianhong flattered her, Mu Yulu maintained the poised elegance of the city's wealthiest woman. That was until Zhou Jianhong smiled and drained his glass of wine, casually exposing a secret hidden for years. To be honest, the reason I invested in that company back then was entirely because of something Mu Chen said. Mu Yulu's hand holding the wine glass froze in midair. Back then, he was still the young master of the Mu family. He told me that one day, every computer in the country would run that software. Zhou Jianhong sighed. Ms. Mu. That vision, that ambition. No wonder your younger brother has such vision. You taught him yourself. In that instant, the glittering bustle of the finely dressed guests seemed to vanish completely. Only a deafening buzz remained in Mu Yulu's ears. Her memories were like sharp blades, slicing through the walls of her self-deception. At last, she remembered how that boy, who had lived year-round in a cold, gloomy basement, had stood before her desk again and again, earnestly describing the future of that industry. And how had she responded then? With contempt, with ridicule. She believed an outsider could not possibly understand business. Yet it was those very suggestions she had discarded as trash that had held up the Mu family's now crumbling business empire. Mr. Zhou. Mu Yulu's voice began to tremble. Her carefully maintained elegance was gone. She suddenly seized Zhou Jianhong's sleeve, her eyes red-rimmed. Do you know of any medical team that can treat late-stage liver cancer? The guest erupted in shocked whispers. Please, help me find a way. I want to save my brother. Mu Yulu pleaded desperately. A tearing pain gripped her heart again and again. She finally understood what Mu Chen had truly sacrificed for this family, and what she had destroyed with her own hands. Sis, have you lost your mind? Mu Xuan could no longer bear the strange looks around him. He violently kicked over the rosewood dining chair behind him. His eyes bloodshot, he roared. He has already been thrown out of this family. He is just a country bumpkin dying of a terminal illness. And you still want to waste our family's money treating him? Seeing the vicious look on her biological brother's face, as he raged like a mad dog, Mu Yulu suddenly found him utterly unfamiliar and unbearably pathetic. The rain outside grew heavier. Mu Yulu collapsed weakly into her chair, staring blankly at the expensive porcelain shattered across the floor. Just shut up, she murmured softly, her voice steeped in bone-deep despair. Without him, the Mu family would have been lost to us long ago. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Mu Chen pushed open the peeling security door. The scent of ribs drifted from the kitchen. His sister looked up from her desk, her eyes sparkling as she called out, "Brother, you're back."